17 hunters walked into a hidden temple. 11 never walked out. And the weakest of them all, the man the whole industry mocks as the weakest hunter of all mankind, is about to be executed by stone gods. But as he bleeds out on an altar, a glowing blue window appears. One choice. Accept, or your heart stops in 0.02 seconds. This is the story of how the weakest hunter alive starts leveling up alone. Let's rewind. A voice speaks from the dark of a dungeon, Jinwoo Sung. He's an E-rank hunter, the lowest rank the Hunters Association hands out. And right now he's bleeding out on the stone floor. He kneels in a pool of his own blood, while colossal stone soldiers thud closer. Someone like him was never supposed to end up here. He never even dreamed it possible. A polearm swings, a sickening crunch, and everything drowns in red. Smash cut to present-day Seoul, where the same young man walks to work covered in small bandages. He's barely stronger than a normal person, embarrassed to even call himself a hunter. He hates the dangerous work, but the association covers his sick mother's hospital bills. A high school graduate with no skills never had another option. Today's job, a gate humming at a Seoul construction site. At the staging area, the association staff hand out coffee and wish the hunters luck. Veterans catch up nearby, one unretired because his wife is pregnant with baby number 2. Behind his back, though, the whispering starts. His nickname is the weakest hunter of all mankind, mocking the S-rank's ultimate weapon title. He was hospitalized even in an E-rank gate. Today's dungeon must be easy. And Jinwoo hears every single word. And to top it off, the coffee runs out right before his turn. Even the coffee let him down. Tragic. Then B-rank healer Joo-hee Lee arrives. The one person here who genuinely worries. She asks about his face, and he admits he was the only one hurt. Nobody had brought a healer. The other hunters were all high rank. Joo-hee fumes at how selfish that is. Jinwoo just smiles that it's not their fault he's weak. He's used to it. Her silence says she isn't. C-rank veteran Cheol-song offers to lead the raid, and nobody objects. Everyone trusts him. Sang-shik Kim tells Jinwoo to stay in the back and watch himself. Psyching himself up, Jinwoo follows the 17-strong party into the blazing blue gate. Outside, the staff figure a D-rank dungeon should be fine, though one admits Jinwoo never comes out uninjured. Inside, the party makes it look easy, carving through the dungeon's beasts with fire magic and blades. Afterward, Joo-hee heals him yet again and begs him to quit before he winds up dead. He deflects that hunting is his hobby. He'd be bored without it. Her deadpan reply, that hobby is going to get him killed. At the loot split, high rankers pocket C-rank essence stones worth over 10 million won apiece. Jinwoo, no match for C-rank beasts, walks away with 1 E-rank stone. A crappy reward, he notes, for risking his life. Mid-sulk, another hunter shouts that he's found what looks like a second entrance. The party gathers before a raw cave mouth hidden inside the cleared dungeon. Song breathes that the rumor is real, a double dungeon. A torch is conjured, and the group stares down a long rocky tunnel. Song gathers everyone. The gate hasn't closed, so the real boss waits deeper in. Reported, though, and other hunters take the boss, and the payout. It could be dangerous, so the 17 of them put it to a vote. Hands split 8-8, Joo-hee guiltily among the no's, which leaves the deciding ballot with the weakest of them all. His mind runs the math. No savings, a sister starting university soon, and a mother lying asleep in a hospital bed. For his family, Jinwoo shouts that he's going in too, sealing everyone's fate. 40 minutes down, Song calculates they still have 20 minutes before the gate closes. Jinwoo apologizes to Joo-hee for dragging her in with his vote, and asks if she's really okay. Honestly, not okay at all. Eyes blazing, she reminds him his last wound nearly pierced his heart. He mumbles he'd be a goner without a B-rank healer. She softens and demands a meal instead. The almost flirting is cut short by a shout. They've reached the boss's lair. Towering cathedral doors rise from the rock, gilded, arched, nothing a dungeon should have. Some hunters mutter that it looks dangerous. Song asks who wants to return empty-handed. He'll go in alone if he must. The others vouch for Song, strongest attacking type C-ranker. Trust him to the end. The doors rumble open with unsettling ease. Shall we enter? Blue torches ignite by themselves as the party steps into a vast domed temple. Moss-eaten statues line the walls holding weapons and instruments, and everyone agrees they're creepy. At the far end looms a gigantic robed, crowned god seated on a throne. Jinwoo asks if anyone feels watched, and is told to stop talking nonsense. Could the huge one be the boss? No way. It's just a stone statue. There isn't a single magic beast here, not even bugs. A huge divination circle is engraved into the floor. Then a hunter calls Song over. There's something written here. The find is an angel-winged stone tablet faced with runes, and Song reads it aloud. The commandments of the Kartinon Temple. First, worship God. Second, praise God. Third, prove your faith. As he reads, Joo-hee suddenly grabs Jinwoo's arm in terror. The giant statue's eyes, she swears, just move to look at them. He tells her she's seeing things. Then the torches shift, and the room goes dead quiet. Song reads the final line anyway. Those who fail to obey these commandments shall not be spared. On cue, a metallic clang rings through the temple, and every head snaps around. Great doors have sealed themselves shut. The two armored knight statues flanking them were not there before, weapons in hand, waiting. An easy D-rank raid just became a locked room. Panic ripples through the party, and one burly hunter decides he is done with this madhouse. He tells the rest to keep the boss and the treasure, then marches straight for the doors. Song screams at him not to touch the doors, but the warning lands a second too late. A knight statue's axe flashes in a shower of sparks, and the deserter drops without ceremony. The stone knight pulls its dripping axe free and settles back into stillness beside the body. The survivors scream the impossible out loud. The statues in this temple can move. Juhi clings to Jinwoo and shrieks that they can't fight those things. But Jinwoo has caught something else, the knight's eyes, and what it means if they're really watching. He turns toward the statue's face, and his blood runs cold. Someone whimpers that they really have to fight these things, in a hall lined with armed statues. Kim asks what rank the dead man was, and the answer is D, a rank above Jinwoo. One strike killed him, in a supposedly D-rank dungeon. The math is wrong, and everyone feels it. D-rank dungeons don't hide monsters like this. Jinwoo voices the worst thought. If every statue here can move, then so can that giant. Song goes pale at the idea, and the answer towers silently over the whole hall. Jinwoo has brushed death before, and he runs the tally while the fear settles in. He got lost on his very first raid, and a single E-rank goblin put him in a hospital for weeks. He is starved in a dungeon maze, while other hunters sold essence stones to buy stronger weapons. Jinwoo can't do that, because any weapon he buys would just shatter in his bare hands. Other hunters pity whichever healer has to raid with him, and the industry crowns him the weakest hunter of all mankind. Beaten daily at a lethal job, maybe that is exactly why. Why he alone could tell, the instant the giant's eyes snap to light. Jinwoo screams for everyone to duck and drags Juhi to the floor. The rest just glare at the weakest hunter, and then the statue's eyes flash. Twin beams rake the temple at head height, shearing through anyone still upright. Jinwoo flattens Juhi against the stone as the light screams past above them, and the hall detonates into rubble and fire. The god's eyes trail smoke while the dust settles over the wreckage. Survivors shout for each other and count who is left. A woman finds a charred hand beside her, and Kim admits he only ducked because Sung yelled. Juhi is shaking too hard to speak, and Song bellows for everyone to stay down and stay still, because moving might invite another attack. The others whisper that she only takes easy raids, despite being a B-rank healer, because she frightens easily. Song tells Jinwoo that everyone who kept moving died, and everyone who heard his warning lived. He asks whether Jinwoo knew what was coming, and the E-rank can only say he sensed danger. Then Jinwoo spots Song's mangled arm, and the leader calmly asks for help stopping the bleeding. While Jinwoo wraps the wound, Song weighs what rank the giant could be. Jinwoo has never rated above D rank, but Song has survived B-rank dungeons, and nothing in them could kill with one hit. His verdict lands heavy. That bastard is A rank, maybe even S. Jinwoo recites the tablet from memory. Worship God, praise God, prove your faith, and those who disobey shall not be spared. Then he asks the question nobody wants answered. Who exactly is God here? Both of them look up at the bastard on the throne. Song mutters that they will all be dead in time. And while the survivors sit frozen, the story rewinds about a decade, to when the first gate tore open and the inexplicable began. Gates are paths to another world, and the awakened who raid beyond them became hunters. A hunter's power is fixed at awakening, and it never grows a single step. Hunters raid the gates for a living, and Jinwoo scrapes by at the very bottom of that ladder. And sometimes, beyond a gate, a scary and unbeatable monster is waiting. Juhi frets over Song's bleeding, and a smirking hunter runs the grim arithmetic. This easy raid brought 3 healers. One is vaporized, one is in shock, and the last is Juhi, frozen with no magic to give. Song wants an exit strategy once things calm, though it won't be easy. Jinwoo maps the trap in his head. Move and you're attacked, near the doors and the guards are waiting. Then a hunter bolts upright anyway, bragging that he just signed with a major guild, and he charges the exit while Song screams at him to stop. The speedster streaks across the hall, and for a second it almost looks possible. Then the god's eyes charge, the light flashes, and only his smoking shoes come tumbling back down. The screaming starts all over again. Song hammers the floor, but Jinwoo's mind races. These bastards could wipe everyone out in an instant, so why aren't they? Magic beasts attack on sight, but these ones don't. The guard only strikes near the doors, the giant only fires when someone moves, their attacks follow rules. Rules, in a dungeon room. Jinwoo's eyes snap to the winged statue holding the stone tablet, the commandments of the Kartinon temple. He demands the first commandment from Song, who dredges it up. Thou shalt worship God. God, meaning that thing on the throne. Jinwoo tells Song there are rules in this dungeon, then pushes himself upright while the older man calls him crazy. The statue does nothing. It is not attacking everything that moves, and Song glimpses the look of a fighter in his eyes. The god's eyes flare, and a beam scorches straight at the standing Irank. Jinwoo hurls himself aside as it rips past, comes up gasping on all fours, and stares the giant down, one guess away from cracking the first commandment. Jinwoo pieces it together. The statue's beam only fires on bodies raised above a certain height. He shouts that he understands the first commandment and orders everyone to submit to the giant. Kim thinks he's insane, but Song hears him out. Kneel low before the statue. He reasons, and you're acting out, thou shalt worship God. Song asks if it's another hunch, and Jinwoo admits it is, for now. With no better option, every survivor presses their forehead to the stone. They tremble in the silence, wondering if one big bow can buy their lives. High above, the god stares down at the specks kneeling at its feet. Then the stone frown slowly curls upward into a wide, gleaming grin. The hunters shudder at that changed face as the colossus settles back onto its throne. They count the dead and realize the attacks have stopped. One man stands up as a test, and nothing happens, and the room erupts in cheers. Jinwoo alone mutters that it isn't over yet, and the floor begins to rumble. The god hauls itself off the throne and stands, its footfall alone shattering the tiles. Someone asks the obvious, do they have to fight that one? Song begs Jinwoo for ideas, and for once the kid has nothing. As the colossus strides closer, Juhi screams that this dungeon runs on rules. The first was worship. The second carved commandment is thou shalt praise God. A long-haired hunter volunteers. He sang in a church choir. He kneels beneath the towering statue and offers a genuinely beautiful prayer. Though unworthy, he craves judgment, finds purpose in faith, and knows he will be reborn. Kim whispers that it might be working because the giant does seem calmer. Jinwoo alone catches the fatal flaw. This man is praising a different god. The grin widens and the foot rises, and the choir boy is crushed mid-prayer. The chamber dissolves into screams as the giant stomps, fleeing hunters like insects. Song yells to split up. Clustering only builds a bigger target. Jinwoo grips the sobbing Juhi's hand, refusing to leave her alone in this. Park cowers in a corner, remembering the pregnant wife who begged him to quit. He was going to quit after this one. Kim's warning comes one heartbeat late, and a winged statue's blade falls exactly where he stands. The darkness chants thou shalt praise God while hunters scream that it's a demon. Armed statues ring the hall. Axe, spear, sword, and approaching them means death. One blade takes a man's arm, and the survivors can neither get close nor get away. Then Jinwoo spots a statue holding a trumpet. He shouts for everyone to stand before a statue with a musical instrument. Song watches a stone horn begin to play beside him, and the order spreads. Musical statues don't attack, find one. One by one, hunters collapse beneath violinists and drummers as serene music fills the slaughterhouse. Kim sobs with relief beneath his statue's song, then curses the gods running this sick game. Jinwoo plants Juhi before a drummer statue and begs it to play. It stays silent, and he works out the ugly rule. One statue shields exactly one person. So he tells her to stay put and sprints for the next instrument alone. He's almost there, when the statue ahead turns out to hold a shield, not an instrument. Song's warning comes too late, and the blow hurls Jinwoo across the hall into stone. Juhi shrieks his name, as he lies face down in his own blood. He crawls anyway, begging for an instrument, begging any god that exists. Above him, the statue only grins, and his life hangs by a proverbial thread. Then a winged songstress opens her mouth, and her voice, her instrument, washes over him. Jinwoo laughs weakly on the floor, saved by a technicality. Song runs over asking if he's okay, and Jinwoo answers that he's not bad. Then he follows Juhi's horrified stare downward, to where his right leg now ends below the knee. His severed foot lies a few tiles away, sneakers still on. Juhi pours golden, healing magic into the stump until blood streams from her own nose. He tells her that's enough, but she coughs red and keeps going, promising to fix him. The arithmetic is brutal. 6 survivors left out of 17, 2 of them maimed. Kim corners the one-armed Song. He led the raid. He owes responsibility. Song quietly agrees, and then the giant's footsteps start again. The colossus strides past the huddled survivors, who brace for another massacre. Instead, the floor quakes, and a huge circular dais grinds out of the stone. The god stretches its hand over the platform almost ceremonially, and the hunters creep closer. Kim asks what it is, and Jinwoo recognizes an altar straight out of mythology. The kind where animals, even children, were offered to hungry gods. The third commandment, prove thy faith, has to be the final test, and Kim says he gets it now. Kim picks up a sword and declares someone has to be sacrificed. He levels it at Song, who's called killed Park and 10 more. Park, who wouldn't stop bragging about his pregnant wife. Jinwoo protests and Kim snarls that they voted, but Song stands and agrees to go himself. Jinwoo calls it cowardice to blame Song for everything, but the old man walks anyway. He climbs the dais and studies the huge carved disc at its center. Flames roar up around the ring, yet nothing touches him, and Song asks whether he did it wrong. Fire instead of a death, the altar doesn't seem to want a sacrifice. He asks to be carried up, and a hooded hunter hauls him over. Standing amid the harmless flames, Jinwoo reads the carvings and quietly says he sees it. And rescue isn't coming. Today is day 7 of this gate, and the association ignores D-rank gates. A gate takes 7 days to open, then the beasts inside cross into our world. A raid exists to kill the boss before that happens, and their time is up. Jinwoo warns that if they fail here, the thing in this temple walks out into the world. So he calls the stragglers up, and all 6 survivors take their places on the altar. The ring of flames roars up around them like a verdict. Lightning snakes across the floor, and the fire burns ghost blue as something ancient wakes. Then, with a boom that shakes the chamber, the great doors swing wide open. After 7 days underground, an exit finally exists. Kim and Song can hardly believe it, and the others ask, can they actually leave? Jinwoo isn't so sure. This feels engineered. And on cue, the blue flames flare and heavy footsteps begin to thud. The armored knight statues blaze blue and step down off their pedestals. They're moving, someone screams, and they're getting closer. Faceless giants converge on the tiny fire circle. Their march shakes the whole chamber. Then Jinwoo catches it. The instant his eyes land on a statue, it freezes mid-stride. Kim names it, the children's game, where they only move when nobody's watching. He bellows at everyone to keep watching. Juhee can barely look. The stalemate holds until a huntress's nerves snap. She bolts screaming off the altar, and Jinwoo lunges too late to catch her. She sprints straight out through the open doors, and actually makes it. The others cheer that she escaped, but Jinwoo is staring at something else. The doors closed a notch behind her, and one red flame died the moment she left. The blue flames, meanwhile, are quietly burning down on their own. Jinwoo assembles the logic. The first commandment was worship, the second praise, and proving faith means resisting temptation while terrified. The open doors are false hope. Every dead red flame closes them further, and when all die, the exit seals forever. The beanie-wearing hunter breaks next, whimpering an apology as he shoves Jinwoo down and sprints for the light. He vanishes through the doors while Jinwoo screams himself hoarse. Another flame dies, and Jinwoo roars that nobody else moves. They can't lose any more people. He tells Song the stakes. Lose one more watcher, and a blind spot opens. The statues kill them all. The plan is brutally simple. Hold the altar, hold their gaze, and outlast every blue flame. Kim wavers. Is he really sure the doors won't slam shut when time runs out? Then his voice softens. He always looked down on the weakest hunter and expected nothing from him. Yet everyone still alive owes it to his answers. Thank you. And his sword clangs to the floor. Then, weeping openly, Kim admits he has a family and doesn't want to die yet. He's sorry, but he can't do this any longer, and he runs. Jinwoo screams after him as another flame dies, wondering what that thank you was even for. Kim's silhouette disappears into the light. 3 remain, and every future escape is a death sentence on whoever stays. The doors grind smaller with every dead flame while the giants tighten the ring. Song, calm now, finally understands the rules. The doors won't fully close while someone stays on the altar. It's too late for him, he says, but the 2 of them still have lives ahead, so go. He asks Juhee to help carry Jinwoo out, and she collapses mid-answer, her legs dead beneath her. She burned every drop of mana regrowing his leg, and now she can't even stand. Jinwoo goes very quiet, then tells Song to take her and get out. Song protests, but who else can carry her? There's no time. Then he presses cash into Juhee's hands. He promised her dinner, so she should treat herself, and he'll collect his change when he gets out. She starts to scream at him for joking. Song quietly knocks her out. Song hoists her over his shoulder, apologizing that there's truly no time left. Jinwoo smiles through the blood and asks him to take care of her. I will, Song answers, and carries her through the doorway into the light. Alone, Jinwoo steadies his breathing and tells himself he's glad he's the only one dying. The colossi close in from every side, and he cracks one last joke about life insurance. A dead hunter's sword lies within reach, so he drags himself over and takes it. If he's going down, he's taking at least one of these things with him. The weakest hunter grins at the wall of giants and tells them to come at him. A statue moves faster than his eyes can track. One blow hurls him backward. The next shears his sword arm off at a stroke. A final strike slams him flat across the altar disc, and he lies gasping in his own spreading blood. Dying, his calm finally shatters. He doesn't want to die. Kim used him and threw him away. He has a family too, and calling himself glad was hypocrisy. The executioner raises its blade in both hands while his mind screams for one more chance. The last blue flame gutters out, and lightning detonates across the chamber. The falling blade blurs into a wall of white light, and a chime sounds. A translucent window hangs over his dying eyes. Secret quest complete. Courage of the weak. All he can manage is what? A voice from nowhere announces he is qualified to become a player, and asks if he accepts. Jinwoo can't parse any of it, until the follow-up lands. Refuse, and and his heart stops in 0.02 seconds. Then he won't die, Jinwoo reasons. That's the entire offer. Bleeding out under the frozen blade, he chokes out his acceptance. The system congratulates its newest player, and golden light detonates through his ruined body. The weeping statue's face lights up from below as the temple erupts. A pillar of white fire swallows the altar, 6 god statues silhouetted before the blast, and everything whites out. The blinding light finally fades, and a message congratulates the new player. 3 days later, Jinwoo's eye snaps open in a hospital bed. He bolts upright, gasping and clutching his chest like a drowning man. Memories crash back, the giant sword punching through him, his own corpse cooling on the altar. Was it all just a dream? 2 men in dark suits let themselves in, and Jinwoo demands to know who they are. Surveillance team, Korean Hunters Association. He's been asleep for 3 whole days. His first question isn't about himself. What happened to Joo-hee and Mr. Song? Toll is heavy. Mr. Song lost an arm and may retire. Joo-hee is being treated for trauma and may never hunt again. When they get to Sang-shik Kim and the others, Jinwoo stops them. He doesn't need to hear it. Only 6 people made it out of that dungeon alive. When the association and the White Tiger Guild went back in, the altar chamber was empty. No giant statue, no stone soldiers, nothing. Just Jinwoo, unconscious on the altar. The survivors' stories all match, so the officials land on the only explanation left. Hunter Jinwoo Sung had a second awakening. Rarely, an awakened hunter can awaken again and leap whole ranks. They hand him a manometer to prove it. Even the lowest E rank measures at least 70. Jinwoo's reading is a pathetic 10. The officials apologize for their mistake and see themselves out. Jinwoo scolds himself for hoping. Garbage is as garbage does. Then it hits him. The officials never once glanced at the glowing window in the room. His severed leg is whole, and there's no scar where the blade ran him through. So what was a dream, and what was real? He pokes at the floating message screen, but apparently it's not touch-activated. Then his little sister Gina storms in, furious. Stop getting hurt, or she's quitting school, and he's quitting hunting. He takes the scolding quietly. He could never leave her behind. Gina is leaning right through the screen without noticing. He asks if she sees it. She sees nothing. So he tries game logic. Unread messages means open the inbox. 2 messages ping in. Congratulations on becoming a player, and a daily quest has arrived. Once Gina heads home, the notifications stack up. The system exists to assist the player's development. Failure to comply brings a penalty. Rewards have been delivered. He's seen windows like these before. On the altar, right before everything went white. Then he opens the new quest. The daily quest demands 100 push-ups, sit-ups and squats, plus a 10-kilometer run. Failure brings an appropriate penalty. Jinwoo bursts out laughing. Is this a joke? He flops back into bed to figure it out after some sleep. Overnight, a timer ticks from green to yellow to red, and a notification announces his transfer to the penalty zone. The room shakes, the floor turns to sand, and Jinwoo sinks straight through his own bed. He lands in an endless burning desert. A desert, in the middle of his hospital stay? Then the dune behind him explodes, and a poison-toothed giant desert centipede rears into the sky. A new window declares a penalty quest, survive 4 hours. Unarmed, in a gown, he mutters that this must be a joke. He bolts across the dunes with the monster shrieking at his heels. It bursts from the sand right behind him, jaws first. And soon it isn't just one. A whole swarm comes boiling over the dunes. 4 desperate hours later, the countdown blinks down to its last 7 seconds. Jaws close over him, and the timer hits 0, the penalty quest complete. He's dumped back into his hospital room mid-stride, skidding across the floor in a spray of sand. On all fours in the sand-covered room, he reads that his rewards have been delivered. A nurse walks in on the wreckage and shouts for help. Days later, the staff gossip that the hunter patient has been running every single day since he woke up. It's been 4 days since he woke, and Jinwoo has learned to play by the rules. Completing the daily quest brings a reward menu. Full recovery, 3 ability points, and a mystery box. He accepts full recovery, and golden light wipes away every ounce of fatigue. The status window reads Jinwoo Sung, level 1. With free points he can pour into any stat. A skills tab lists willpower and dash. It's all exactly like a video game. Sprawled on a bench beneath the screens, he grins. He has no idea what's going on. Jinwoo signs out of the hospital, claiming he has errands to run, and rides to Hapjeong Station. Mystery boxes usually cough up junk like bandages or pins, but this one held something else. It's time to find out what that something is. A dungeon key, an E-rank item that opens an instance dungeon right at exit 3. Maybe all this is the sign of a second awakening, or the process itself. Either way, it's worth a shot. The second awakening of the weakest hunter of all mankind. If anyone heard that, they'd laugh. But he's always been good at running away. If it gets dangerous like last time, he'll just run. The key flares to life in his fist. Lightning crackles over the station entrance, and blue light floods up the stairwell. Jinwoo walks down into the storm, calm as anything, and steps through a ring of crawling electricity. A notification welcomes him. He has entered the instance dungeon. Then, behind him, the entrance seals itself into a wall of cracked crystal. He pounds on it, blocked. On the other side, people stroll past without seeing or hearing him, another dimension. It's nothing like a normal dungeon. His best guess is a red gate. So much for the plan. A notification confirms the trap. He cannot leave until he defeats the boss or uses a teleportation stone. He couldn't even handle an E-rank magic beast, and now he has to clear an entire dungeon alone. Cold mist curls down the pitch-black corridor, and something far inside lets out a howl. No party, no healer, no weapons. He seriously has to do this all by himself. Ahead, there's only the dark, and somewhere in it, a boss is waiting. Can a level 1 player clear an entire dungeon alone? Part 2 is where the leveling truly begins. The gate seals shut behind Jinwoo, and the dungeon turns out to be a dead shopping arcade, all cracked tile and sputtering lights. He barely takes 10 steps before a stench rolls out of the dark, and every instinct tells him it is close. 2 red eyes snap open in the gloom, and an animal-type magic beast comes thundering straight at him. It is a wolf the size of a car, and its muzzle is plated with actual steel. The tag over its head reads steel-fanged Leakin, and Jinwoo does the grim math out loud. He can barely handle goblins, so what chance does he have against this thing, alone? Fear locks his legs in place, because the double dungeon taught his body exactly what monsters do to the weak. The Leakin lunges while he stands frozen, and he twists clear with nothing to spare. There are no healers in here, so a single scratch could be the end of him. Yet mid-dodge he notices something absurd, because his leveled-up body suddenly feels impossibly light. He has been to hell and back, and it shows. He refuses to give in to the fear, and his bare fist sends the beast crashing through a metal shutter. Then he stares at his own hand, wondering if this is what 20 points of strength feels like. The Leakin shakes it off, because it is still the stronger one here. His flurry of punches barely dents it, and the bitter truth lands hard. Even a low-rank magic beast outclasses him. He runs, and the thing shreds his hoodie mid-stride. No party, no healer, no weapon. So how is he supposed to win with nothing but his body? Then his eyes go wide, because he does have something. He shouts for his inventory, and a glowing game window pings open in midair. From the grid, he pulls a crackling shape he never bought, and one clean slash splits the Leakin's steel snout wide open. Notifications stack up, Leakin defeated, level gained. The blade is the steel sword Mr. Kim abandoned in the double dungeon, a 3,000,001 weapon Jinwoo could never afford. He decides he is borrowing it indefinitely, and yes, the inventory is that convenient. 2 more Lycans pad out of the dark, but with a weapon in hand the fear simply evaporates. Then the sword jams tip first in the floorboards, and of course that is exactly when they charge. He rips it free with a scream and swings, and one beast catches the blade dead in its metal teeth. Steel-fanged indeed, he mutters, shaking it loose and cutting both wolves down while trying not to snap his only sword. Compared to the stone soldiers of the double dungeon, these things are featherweights. His status window now reads level 2 with strength 20, and the system even lists his skills, willpower, dash, and one entry it refuses to name. He runs the numbers like a gamer. Every level adds a point to each stat, dailies add 3, and a level up hands out 5. So hunting is the fastest way to grow, and he suspects the power gains might scale exponentially. For the first time in his life, effort visibly makes him stronger. Oddly, the corpses drop no essence stones, so he theorizes the game-like system conjured this dungeon and its beasts itself. Instead he loots a Leakin Fong, discovers a built-in shop, and sells it for 20 gold of money that isn't money. He sizes the place up as a cheap E-rank, but the only exit is through the boss, and even an E-rank boss can kill a lone hunter. Food will run out. A teleport stone may never drop, and he shivers at the obvious conclusion. So the plan becomes simple. Level up first, worry later. Deeper in, growls multiply until red eyes fill the corridor like a bad constellation. Nothing to be afraid of, he tells himself, because he has already died once. The borrowed sword comes up. The pack comes all at once, and he wades straight into it. He even taunts them between breaths, warning that he is hard to kill, and they had better not die on him too easily. Level up windows pop mid-swing, again and again, and he swears to give everything down to his last breath. One thing is certain, the moment he gives up, he dies here. He thinks of the people he protects, of a hospital room he pays for with his blood, and decides he has far too much to lose. His grip tightens on the ruined hilt. He charges screaming through a curtain of blood, and when the fog settles, an entire platform of Lycans lies dead. The system takes notice, and it crowns him with a brand new title, Wolf Assassin, a 40% boost against every animal-type monster. The borrowed blade is wrecked, and he remembers exactly why he stopped buying weapons. He once blew 500,001 on a dagger that died in a single boss round, for 3 measly essence stones. Still, he quietly thanks this battered sword, because it carried him through. The loot tally reads 34 fangs, 2 dull daggers, a cloak, and a teleportation stone. His ticket out, found early. He could leave right now, and he chooses not to. If the system is playing him like a puppet anyway, he would rather walk forward than back. The killing gets easier by the hour, and new species join the tally: razor-clawed brutes, shadow-black monkey things dropping from ceilings. Unlike a real dungeon, the monsters keep respawning on fixed patterns, lifeless as video game mobs, so he learns every tell and simply stops getting hit. His eyes now glint an eerie ice blue as he carves through steel jaws in the dark. Between breaths, he cracks the interface's color code. White names mean weak, orange means his own level, and red means run. The Leakin's tag burned red when he first walked in, and now it reads white. That is how far he has climbed inside a single locked dungeon, and then a low howl rolls up from somewhere below. His boosted perception leaves no doubt that something powerful waits down those stairs, and it gives him chills. He is level 15 with strength 45. The mobs have stopped giving experience, and the sword is one fight from snapping. He walks down anyway, step by step, into the boss round. The stairs down into Hapjeong Station stretch far longer than they should, and Jinwoo counts every one. At the bottom waits a drowned, overgrown ruin instead of a platform. He mutters that this can't be the same station. Something explodes out of the dark, almost too fast to see. Sparks scream off his desperate parry, then a blow hurls him across the chamber, snapping his borrowed blade in half. Coughing, he stares at the stub and admits the level-ups haven't closed the gap. The Kasaka's floating name still reads orange, hopelessly above his level. He pants out the obvious question: is this thing the dungeon's master? He grips the broken sword backhand and thinks. Blades can't cut those scales, and fists wouldn't tickle. The Kasaka rears to full height above its cornered meal. It strikes jaws first, like a missile. Jinwoo turns the fangs aside, screaming at himself for a plan. He needs one fast, heavy attack, plus a way to strip the snake's defense. For now he grinds sparks off its fangs and runs. One clean hit means death, and the tail keeps finding him anyway. It bats him off walls and pavement until he's coughing in the dust. He admits he has gotten stronger, just nowhere near enough. Rising under the fangs, he demands to know how much more escaping his useless past will take. The question drags up a colleague cheerfully confirming his nickname: weakest hunter of all mankind. The man called it childish teasing and told him to try harder. Darker still, the temple where power forced every survivor to kneel, and the crying man who chose his family and left Jinwoo to die. Power is the only lesson that stuck, so he attacks again. He came here for exactly one thing. The Kasaka swats him out of the air, and his hands shake as he pushes off the rubble. Purple lightning crawls over him as he stands, swearing to get stronger. Not yet, he snarls, and again, not yet. Compared to the smiling god of that temple, this snake doesn't scare him at all. He grinds the stub along its scales and sparks, loses it to a snap of jaws, and lands on the monster's skull. Every ability point he owns went into strength, and he squeezes until armored scales crack. The Kasaka drags him through walls and rubble. He doesn't let go. Eyes glowing, he hammers the skull, screaming die until something finally gives. Across town, a hospital nurse wonders where their patient, Mr. Sung, wandered off. The doctor admits Jinwoo stepped out this morning and never came back. The staff marvel that hunters survive wounds like nothing else in medicine, and that even the weakest hunter outclasses any normal person. Back in the dungeon, the system stacks 3 fresh level-ups. Jinwoo laughs at the corpse, breathless. The kill pays out a venom-fang dagger loaded with paralysis and drain, plus a poison gland that hardens skin but ruins muscles. Standing on the carcass, he asks whether he's gotten stronger. The system answers, King of the Swamp, defeated. The dagger doubles his old sword's attack power, earning a tired grin. The gland he pockets, suspicious of trades that eat strength. Boss dead, the dungeon dissolves, and Hapjeong Station flickers back around him. He climbs out into rain and oddly empty streets. A jumpy soldier stops him, demanding to know where he came from. One look at the dagger changes the tone, and the question becomes, are you a hunter? Jinwoo admits he is, and suddenly it salutes, and please follow me, Mr. Hunter. The gate opened nearby, and every beast but one is down. His upgraded perception feels the survivor before he sees it, the boss. A stone giant veined with lightning towers over the district, shrugging off everything the raid throws, while soldiers beg the filming crowds to evacuate. The onlookers grumble about slow hunters and property values. The captain screams for healers to keep the tank alive. Jinwoo reads the raid instantly. 8 E ranks, 1 D rank tank, so nobody can land a killing blow. Dealers can't scratch its defense, the mages are running dry. Then he notices the healer who isn't casting, Jui, frozen in the rain. A crossbow hunter screams at her to do her job. Jui forces her circle to hold, whispering she's finished if she gives up. Jinwoo understands. A week on, she's not over that temple, and neither is he. But unlike her, he has decided to get over it, starting now. He rates this boss a level below the snake he just soloed. Neutralize the defense, land 1 massive strike, done. While healers whisper that everyone dies unless a high ranker arrives, something tears across the plaza. The tank is a goner and the healers are dry, when something smashes into the golem first. Cracks of light race through the stone, and the giant topples. The stunned raid piles on until it crumbles, and the crowd erupts. The captain knows their attacks barely scratched it. So what changed? The answer stands upright in the rubble, a battered sword thrown hard enough to shatter a boss's skull. Soldiers ask around, but the ragged hunter is gone. Jinwoo himself is mildly surprised. Maybe its stamina was low. Only one person recognizes the silhouette, and Juhee whispers his name into the ring. His status screen, later, shows the payoff. Level 18, the title Wolf Assassin, strength pushing 50. Next morning he's grinding out push-ups in his hospital room, when the nurse walks in and short-circuits. She blushes through an apology, and at discharge, she asks for his number. He hands it over, assuming it's about test results. Home again, he catches his sister Gina heading to school. She squints at her suddenly taller, weirdly fit brother, who wonders if men really keep growing in their 20s. He stuffs an umbrella into her bag over her protests, then waves her off, and turns to a quest window only he can see. The morning quest log shows every exercise cleared except the 10-kilometer run. Jinwoo has visibly bulked up in just 2 days, and he knows the stats are rebuilding his body for maximum effect. 12 stat points sit unspent, and he wonders if maxing strength would leave him a slow meathead. Damage means nothing if you can't land it, so the points go to agility and perception instead. The phone rings, and instead of the association it's the landlord, chasing this month's rent. Jinwoo blames a hospital stay and promises to transfer the money. A reawakened hunter, he realizes, could make rent in no time. Hunters earn a living killing magic beasts, and essence stones are the payday. But low-rank hunters are everywhere, fighting over even the common gates. Guilds won't touch E-ranks, and reevaluation would put his face on the news. Attention means money, and eyes on a secret he doesn't understand yet. So money first. He scrolls listings hunting for a strike squad seat, and one posting stops his thumb cold. It leads him, at sunset, to a half-built tower frozen mid-construction. Inside, a bearded C-rank named Dong-suk Hwang waves him over with a grin. The handshake sours when the crew recognizes the weakest hunter of all mankind and snickers. Dong-suk shuts it down. They only need Jinwoo to make quota. The deal is blunt. No fighting, no loot share, just 2 million won for standing there. C-rank gates legally require 10 hunters, half of them C-rank or better, so squads pad the roster with cheap low-rank temps. The other temp introduces himself with a wink. Jinho Yu, 22, D-rank, quota guy. His armor is blinding trust fund gear, while Jinwoo's job is hauling the giant backpack. There's no healer either, and Jinho cheerfully vows to protect his E-rank big brother. The squad marches out through the skeleton of an unfinished tower. Dong-suk mentions the builder's president embezzled 900 billion won and fled the country. Jinho frets over Jinwoo's massive pack, but thanks to the strength stat it weighs nothing. Jinho talks non-stop, cheerfully admitting hunting is more hobby than job for him. Then the gate appears, enormous and blue, rare for a C-rank. Dong-suk waves it off. The association ranks gates by wavelength, not size, and checked twice. Jinwoo keeps one detail quiet. This is his first C-rank dungeon ever. Inside, the dark is total, and Dong-suk has his mage Gyuan float a ball of light. No glow stones line these walls, which means the beasts here prefer darkness. A dry skittering builds in the walls, and Jinwoo runs the logic. Something that swarms, hates light, and lives in the dark, insect-type magic beasts. Then everyone looks up. The ceiling is carpeted with them. The swarm drops, and the squad snaps into a drill they've clearly run before. Gyuwan's volleys blast the bugs out of the air, while Dong-suk's shield bashes and bellows for aggro. Jinwoo grades them from the sidelines. Solid tanking, crisp timing, real chemistry. But without a healer, the whole squad fights a little too aggressively. When a stray bug charges him, it's shot down before he can even test himself. The crew rummages for essence stones, splitting the hull 9 ways, temps excluded. Jinho asks how he knew the bugs were overhead. Jinwoo calls it a hunch. Then someone finds corpses covered in bite wounds. Something bigger already hunts this dungeon. Dong-suk hears about a dominant beast and grins like a man smelling a payday. Jinwoo can't say why, but he quietly warns Jinho to keep an eye out. His bad feelings, he notes, are never wrong. The dungeon is a maze, so progress crawls even without a fight. Over a cave floor meal, an old warning surfaces from nowhere. Beware the lizards. Deeper in, every bug they pass is already dead or dying. The boss is near. Yuan raises his light, and a cathedral of webbing swallows the ceiling. It's the boss's lair, and Dong-suk orders everyone ready. Then the squad spots a glittering wall of mana stones, and jackpot fever takes over, more than 1 billion won's worth. The crew teases Dong-suk about his brother, a high-rank hunter who ditched Korea for America. Dong-suk stares into the crystals, silently promising the brother who treats him like trash that this squad will blow up. Jinho, contract in hand, asks the fatal question. Shouldn't the mana stones split 10 ways, not 9? The squad turns around wearing masks and dead eyes. Dong-suk smiles that they'll divide everything equally. After one little errand, while a colossal spider sleeps overhead. Killing the boss closes the gate, so they'll mine the stones first. Conveniently, the mining tools were left in the car, and Dong-suk asks the two timps to wait inside the boss's lair. It's in a food coma, he promises, just don't bother it. Trust me, Dong-suk says, and 8 men file out. Jinwoo does the math. The rules demand 10 raiders, and this squad keeps 8 regulars. Outside, Dong-suk's eye glints red as he gives Gyu-won the order, block the entrance. Jinho barely gets a word out before the blast rips through the tunnel and buries the entrance in rubble. Jinwoo just narrows his eyes. He knew it. They're lizards. Years ago, a veteran spelled it out for him. Dungeons have no cameras, so crimes inside are easy to bury. Hunters who cut off the weak like a lizard's tail, beware them, especially if you're weak. Jinho pounds the rubble, raging that they're being murdered over mana stones. Jinwoo stays cold. They were in the trap before they ever signed, and resisting would have meant dying on the spot. He could still slip out of here alone. But above them, the boss wakes. The explosion saw to that, and begins its slow descent. Outside, the squad lounges, waiting for the spider to eat the witnesses and doze off again. If that fails, Dong-suk figures, Jinho's gear alone is worth a few $100 million. Back at camp, Huang's crew hears the blast and knows the boss is furious. Huang looks up Jinho's father, joking the kid will need a proper burial. Nobody here could solo that boss, so those two are dead no matter what. Inside, the spider drops onto the crystal field, and Jinho plants himself in front, stammering that he'll try to hold it. Jinwoo just catalogs the thing. Too many eyes, a nightmare mouth, legs like siege towers. Its power sits on a whole other level. Then he remembers the grinning stone god from the double dungeon and almost laughs at his own line. Compared to that, this is nothing. He tells Jinho to stay put while lightning starts crawling up his arm. Dagger crackling, Jinwoo claims the boss as his and walks toward it. Jinho sputters that he's insane, that soloing this thing is C-rank work at minimum, maybe B. Privately, Jinwoo admits the kid is right, because his reawakened body is still weak. Yet he has no bad feeling about this at all. This spider outclasses Kasaka and the golem combined, and he smiles anyway, because he's grown that much stronger. He runs the math out loud. Level 18 against a C-rank boss is doable. The legs hammer down like pile drivers while Jinho screams behind him. Jinwoo threads the forest of legs and carves them open in rings of light. The venom fang bites deep, and he's almost surprised it works. Landing clear, he grips the dagger tighter. This is why hunters are called hunters. He squares up under the webs and declares it's time for some legit hunting. The exchange turns into a blur of claws and afterimages. Jinho, catching stray shockwaves on his shield, can't process it. That's how an E-rank is registered at the association, but those are not E-rank moves. The hide is too tough, so he needs to bury the dagger deeper for real damage. And the boss gives him nothing. 8 legs, no blind spot, blows that pulverize stone. One clean hit on him would be fatal, and just closing distance takes time. Jinho lands on a theory, a false ranker, a hunter with magic control fine enough to hide his real level from the tests. The catch is that false rankers are famously psychopaths who enjoy killing, and Jinwoo picks that exact moment to grin mid-swing. Jinho quietly starts praying he guessed wrong. 10 minutes in, fatigue hits 57 and his speed is bleeding away, while the spider is barely scratched. There's exactly one way to win. Land the dagger's debuffs, paralysis, and drain, and let them do the killing. He goes for the classic weak spot, the eyes, and the boss answers with a fire hose of acid. Apparently, it kept a secret weapon in reserve. So Jinwoo burns his new skill, dash, and gains 30% more speed on the spot. He reaches the blind spot in a second, and even Jinho's jaw drops. But the system coldly reports the paralysis was cancelled by the boss's high resistance. He isn't landing enough critical hits. Fatigue climbs to 70 as both of them keep accelerating. Jinho sees it too. The man is fast, but he's tiring. The maw lunges, a leg connects, and Jinwoo ends up flat on his back in the rubble with the spider blotting out the ceiling. Except he's been holding a trump card. Today's daily quest rewards, never claimed. He accepts the HP recovery as the blow falls, snaps back to full, and vanishes from under the strike. And yes, the spider is confused. Fully restored, he hits the blind spot again and drives the fang into the hilt, over and over. This time, both debuffs take. The boss locks up paralyzed while Drain eats 1% of its life every second. He keeps carving until the giant topples. The system announces the dungeon's master is defeated and levels him up 3 times, 18 to 21. Jinwoo exhales, thinking how lucky it was he'd save those rewards for emergencies. Jinho's brain settles on the only sane explanation, false rancor, and he instantly appoints himself minion. Suddenly it's all boss, here's water, boss, I'll dig the mana stones, while Jinwoo counts 10 essence stones off the corpse and wonders what he's adopted. Then an explosion rocks the cave, and silhouettes come walking out of the dust. Huang's crew stares at the dead boss and the 2 survivors. Huang recalculates fast. No way the E-rank helped, so it must be the rich kid's gear. Better to play nice with the golden goose. So he calls out Jinho Yu by full name. They looked him up, and Daddy is Myung-han Yu of Eugene Construction. They'd love a word with dear old dad. So Jinho gets one chance to live. All he has to do is kill Jinwoo Sung. Blades slide free, become an accomplice, or die alongside him. Because what happens in a dungeon stays in a dungeon. Jinwoo isn't even surprised, thinking it's only natural for the weak to be betrayed. Instead, Jinho steps in front of Jinwoo and levels his sword at the crew. Huang shrugs and orders the weak one killed. Right then the system pings an urgent quest. 8 people here want the player dead, defeat them all, and failure means his heart stops. While he's still reading, the crew's mage fires. The blast swallows him whole, and Jinho is dragged off with a shrug. He's already dead, come with us. Jinho can only call them murderers. In the smoking rubble, one eye opens on the glitching quest text, and a single word loops in his skull. How? How could he forget that this place runs on the law of the jungle? The numbness cracks. He kept walking into dungeons, nearly died more than once, got healed, and went straight back, with Juhi's apologetic face flickering past. He'd made the mistake of treating this world like a safe space. And this quest is neither coincidence nor kindness. The system is ordering him to kill, which means his death would be inconvenient for it. It has a motive. It needs a strong Jinwoo Sung. So he stands up out of the rubble at half health. The crew gapes at the dead man walking while the mage insists he didn't hold back. Jinwoo has it clear now. The system will use him, and he will use the system right back. Then he asks the room whether hunters are ready to be hunted. A D-rank bruiser named Juntae saunters over to collect him, sneering that the kid has no idea what's going on. One flash of the venom fang later, Juntae folds to the floor. Jinwoo, spattered red, says 1. The quest counter ticks, 7 left. The crew reels, because Juntae was a D-rank and nobody even saw a dagger. Jinwoo stares at his bloody hand, absorbing that he's killed a person, then locks it down. If he doesn't kill them, they kill him. It's survival of the fittest. And the memories pour in from the double dungeon. Friendly faces before the doors closed, statues cutting hunters down, a survivor turning his blade on Cheol Song for leading them there. Song weeping that he has a family, that he doesn't want to die. That lesson is the law Jinwoo lives by now. Alone in the dark, Jinwoo grips his skull and shakes. Then something ignites inside him, and the trembling simply stops. When he lifts his head, his eyes are burning like cold blue lamps. He walks out of the smoke wrapped in blue light, dagger loose. The mage blasts him again on Dong-suk's order. Jinwoo swats the spell aside and cuts the mage down mid-breath. A swordsman charges in screaming, and Jinwoo slides past every stroke. The convicts babble that no E-rank moves like this, that he's just too fast. Hunters have to hunt, he decides. Hunters are born for it. The system joins in, locking one killer rigid with paralysis while another is drained dry. The last man demands to know what Jinwoo is, and gets the dagger for an answer. A quest window keeps score, 7 enemies down, 1 left. Dong-suk demands to know how his crew died, then swears a C-rank won't go down so easily. Dong-suk armors up with a reinforcement skill, sure a tired dealer can't crack him. Jinwoo catches his swing barehanded and drives him straight through the dungeon floor. He admits Dong-suk is strong, but there's one difference. Jinwoo keeps leveling up. Flat in the rubble, Dong-suk bargains, offering the essence stones, offering everything. Jinwoo notes the man tried to kill him 3 times, then returns his own rule. Dungeon business stays in the dungeon. Dong-suk screams about his younger brother and never finishes the sentence. The dagger flies once, and the last of the 8 drops mid-threat. Jinho retches in the corner while the gate rumbles shut, and Jinwoo calmly says it's time to go. The system pays out with full recovery, 10 ability points, and a skill called murderous intent. Meanwhile in Washington, a mountain of a man wakes up crying from a dream. His first question is what time it is in Korea. At the association, manager Woo hears the report. 8 hunters dead in 1 C-rank raid. The survivors were a rookie D-rank and Jinwoo Sung, the E-rank from the double dungeon. Woo smells no coincidence, because one corpse is an S-ranker's older brother. At home, Jinwoo celebrates with fried chicken while Jaina fishes for details. His revival blessing makes him immune to poison, disease, every debuff, so he tests it with venom that should cripple him. The system scrubs it in seconds and even lets him keep the armor buff. Then the D-rank survivor, Jinho Yu, tracks him down to a cafe. The kid insists Jinwoo saved his life. Jinwoo says the stone money made them square. Privately, Jinho suspects he's having coffee with a serial killer and stays anyway. Jinho pitches a strike squad, and Jinwoo is gone before the sentence ends. So the kid blurts the truth. 19 more raids earns him a guild master's license. Jinho's father owns a construction empire and plans a corporate guild. Dungeons print money, so father wants a hired S-rank running things. Jinho would rather bet on the E-rank who cleared a C-rank raid untouched. Jinwoo asks the only question that matters. What's in it for him? On a jog, Jinwoo casually asks Jaina what she'd do with 30 billion won. The answer is Jinho's offer, an office building worth exactly that, for 19 raids. Jinwoo weighs it against his secret. He's the only hunter alive who can raise his own stats. He accepts on one condition. The two of them enter every dungeon alone. Jinho nearly faints, but Jinwoo rebrands it as 19 raids, 0 injuries, the accident-free squad. In Washington, the dead man's brother gets a name. Dongsu Huang, S rank of Scavenger Guild. Secretary Laura confirms Korea can't extradite him for hunter-on-hunter crimes. His calendar is locked for 2 months, so he skips the funeral and makes one wish, that both survivors stay alive until he arrives. 2 profiles roll out of his fax. Jinho Yu, D rank. Jinwoo Sung, E rank. Back in Seoul, Jinwoo's overdone daily quest unlocks a hidden reward, a key rated S class. It opens the demon's castle, and he uses it that very night. Lightning tears the street open, and the instance swallows him into a burning city. He runs the logic out loud. If key rarity equals dungeon rank, this place is S rank, which means he can't survive it. But he pockets an escape stone, because he has to know his limits. The welcome party is Hell's Gatekeeper itself, a 3-headed Cerberus wreathed in flame. Jinwoo decides fear is just another way of staying weak. He raises the dagger, promises he isn't dying here, and vows to level up. And that's exactly where the story cuts to black. Can a hunter still shy of level 30 survive Hell's own Gatekeeper, with an S-rank executioner counting down the days? Part 3 is where the answer begins. Jinwoo stands before the flaming Gatekeeper, weighing the key that dragged him here. Acquisition difficulty A rank, and matching difficulty means survival near 0. Only a handful of S-rank gates have ever opened, and one turned Jeju Island into a no-man's land. Still, he refuses to die here. He tests his blades on the beast anyway, wolf assassin and dash flaring as he darts between 3 snapping heads. Nothing sticks, his paralysis fizzles against its resistance, and its level dwarfs his. Then Cerberus doubles its power with a rage skill, and the fight stops being a test. Cerberus feels no pain, the system notes, as its jaws nearly fold Jinwoo in half. His stamina craters from thousands into the hundreds, and willpower halves the damage once his health dips below 30%. The system, it seems, cannot afford to lose its one and only player. This is no normal reawakening, and if the system thinks it bought a pawn, Jinwoo swears to devour it whole. He burns a stored full recovery reward, light knitting him back together mid-fight. Then he vaults the snapping jaws, blinds the beast, and 4 level-ups announce the Gatekeeper's death. Battered, Jinwoo thanks the corpse for teaching him his limits. Opening those castle doors now would be suicide. The kill drops a stat-boosting collar, the castle door key itself, and a fong. He vows to come back stronger. Elsewhere, a hollow-eyed company president drops a bag of 2 billion won before a young hunter, begging him to kill certain convicts, plus an extra billion for the other hunters on the raid. The killer smirks. He works surveillance because he enjoys killing humans far more than monsters. Across town, Kendo Master Chiyul Song, a swordsman whose awakening left him fighting as a C-rank mage, gets an urgent association summons. Outside the gate barricade, he does a double take. The tall young man arriving is Jinwoo, so changed in months that Song barely recognizes him. Song asks about the severed leg, and Jinwoo says it was simply whole when he woke, silently crediting the system's blessing that healed every injury. At the gate they find the whole double dungeon crew assembled. The association has summoned every survivor to one strange raid. Jui stares like she is seeing a ghost, while Mr. Kim cannot meet the eyes of the man he once offered as a sacrifice. Jui's voice cracks. She searched everywhere for Jinwoo, so why is he only appearing now? A whistle splits the reunion as a van unloads catcalling convicts in orange jumpsuits. A gray-haired suit named Taesik Kong tells them this is not a picnic. The association clerk explains, former hunters, now prisoners, doing community service on today's raid to shave down their sentences. The clerk swears there is nothing to fear. The prisoners are C rank, and Surveillance Officer Kong is a B rank worth 10 of them. Jinwoo still smells something wrong, and tells Juhi to skip this one. If he goes, she goes, and the mismatched team steps into the gate. Inside, the cuffs come off and Song volunteers to lead. He quietly thanks Jinwoo for another chance, then bows low. 11 died under him, and he bows for the 6 who survived. Kim, still unable to apologize, mutters whatever, as the first goblins shriek out of the dark. The convicts shred goblins with whips and fists while Song torches an ambush with fire magic, muttering that he cannot tell who the bad guys are. Song marvels at the dagger work. Juhi has not healed Jinwoo once. Song worries her trauma will end her career. A 3-way fork, Kong proposes splitting up and takes the prisoners down the right-hand path himself. Jinwoo heads left with Song and Juhi, catching a smirk on Kang's face as they part. Only the boss here can give him experience, but that man is what makes him nervous. On the other path, Kong lectures his convicts that goblins are just children with claws. Humans and beasts, all insects to him. Could they kill 100 starving children? The men shrug. Kill or be killed. Correct, Kong purrs, already composing his report about a tragic encounter. In the middle passage, Kim hopes the raid ends quietly and resolves to finally apologize to Jinwoo when it is over. Then he and his friends step into a slaughterhouse. The convicts lie butchered, and Kong stands over them gripping the last dying man. Kong complains the deaths were supposed to be slow, cooing that the children are screaming for him to finish quickly. Realizing the paths connect, he thanks the pair for pointing him toward the boss, kills his victim mid-sentence, and whips his blade toward the two witnesses. A scream rips through the caves, and Jinwoo sprints toward the hostile energy, arriving just in time to block Kang's sneak attack. The killer is rattled. His plan was to erase the B-rank healer first. No matter, he shrugs. Everyone dies here, just like the bodies behind him. Song sputters that Kong is association. Why do this? But down in the blood, Kim's life is flickering past. A wife who begged him to quit. Kids who thought their hunter dad was the strongest. He is a father, so he cannot die, and yet Jinwoo finds him bleeding out. Jinwoo screams at Juhee to heal the dying Kim, and she pours glowing healing magic into him. But Kim gently tells her to stop. He's lost far too much blood to save. Jinwoo refuses to accept it, shouting that Kim promised to make it home to his family. He begs the older man to fight and live, so Jinwoo can keep hating him. Kim just whispers that he's sorry. Kim admits this isn't how he wanted to apologize. He meant to bow, but lowering his head now would kill him. So he simply says he means it, smiles through the blood, and goes still. The killer waits calmly in the dark, and Jinwoo demands to know why. The man shrugs that he's no different from the magic beasts. Gates open, people die, call it an act of God. He's Taesik Kong, a B-rank hunter, and he's already polishing his alibi. The prisoners revolted, slaughtered the escort team, and only he survived. He even asks if they think people will buy it. Furious, Jinwoo calls him human trash, but Mr. Song holds him back. This fight is beyond them. Then Song quietly borrows Kim's sword, sizing up a faster, stronger opponent, and asks Juhee for a strength buff. Juhee obliges, surprised her C-rank leader even has sword skills. Song plans to fight point blank so the assassin can't dodge. Admitting a mage swinging steel is like bolting a car engine onto a bicycle. And yes, he charges anyway. Their blades collide, and Kong is genuinely impressed. Quick, precise, clever. But a mage's body is weaker than a D-rank's, and there's a reason mage swordsmen don't exist. Annoyed by Juhee's endless buffs, he decides to stop playing. Kong blurs toward Juhee first, but Song reads it and blocks. Never turn your back on a swordsman. The old man reveals he trains an S-rank hunter. Weak body, sharpened skills. Kong laughs that a mere mage keeping up with an assassin is ridiculous. Then the real speed arrives. A storm of slashes shreds Song until he's coughing blood, and Juhee screams as he crumples. Kong raises his blade, promising a painless finish. Except Song was baiting him. At point-blank range, the fake swordsman detonates his hidden magic in a massive fireball. Kong walks out of the smoke almost delighted, a mage posing as a swordsman to land one surprise attack. Sly old fox. Now die. A dagger stops the killing blow. Juhee and Song can only stare. Jinwoo stands between them with glowing eyes and calmly introduces himself. Jinwoo Sung, E-rank. Kong bursts out laughing. No chance. Kong studies him like a puzzle. E-rank muscle. Impossible reaction time. 2 clean blocks. Not a false ranker, since false rankers don't leave witnesses alive. That leaves one answer. A reawakened being. He even remembers Manager Wu investigating exactly that rumor recently. Still, a rookie is a rookie, so Kong draws twin daggers and offers Jinwoo a masterclass. Jinwoo only asks why he did all of it, and something cold flickers behind his eyes when Kong giggles about having his reasons. The reason is a contract. A broken father slid Kong a bag of billions, begging him to kill the prisoner who assaulted his daughter. She hanged herself. His wife is hospitalized. The man walks free in a few years. Kong accepted. For 3 billion, everyone dies. Kong swears he doesn't actually want to kill these 3, promise silence, and they live. Jinwoo isn't buying a word from a grinning maniac, and says so. Fine. Kong shrugs. He'll squash them like bugs instead. The duel reignites at full speed, sparks screaming off cross daggers. Kong realizes with a thrill that this supposed E-rank matches his pace exactly, while Song admits the boy they knew is gone. Even Kang's taunts turn breathless. The eyes keep up, but can the body? So Kong stacks haste and burn boosts and stops holding back, turning the cavern into a lattice of blade light. He warns that experience decides fights at this level, then dives for Juhee, suggesting Jinwoo protect his healer better. Song barely deflects the strike, and Jinwoo's counter carves lines of light across the assassin. Then a chime only Jinwoo can hear, an urgent quest. Enemies want the player dead, kill them all, or his own heart stops. For once, Jinwoo thanks the system for one more reason. They trade flurries, Kong crowing that 2 dagger-class fighters are a perfect match, Jinwoo replying that he's learning plenty, mostly that Kong talks too much. A dash skill buys Kong 30% more speed, but Jinwoo's Venom Fong lands anyway. Poison, paralysis, and a draining debuff at once. Kang's high resistance burns the toxins off, and he unveils his own trick, a stealth skill that erases sound, scent, and presence. Invisible, he still gets blocked once, then slips through and severs a tendon in Jinwoo's leg. Kang freezes Juhee with a pointed blade and a promise that she's next, while Song grips his sword, desperate to buy healing time. How many minutes until that leg mends? Kang gloats. Jinwoo's answer is flat. You talk too much. Golden light erupts, full recovery, and the wound closes in seconds. Kang's confidence finally cracks as he cycles through theories. A trick, a bluff, some impossible hybrid class? Jinwoo just tells him stealth has limits, so try something else. Something inside Jinwoo has died again, and he says staying angry at a man like this is wasted energy. Kang recognizes the stillness. This one has killed before, which makes them the same. Watching, Song can barely process how much the boy has changed. Kang commits everything to stealth, but Jinwoo deflects strike after invisible strike in a storm of sparks. The assassin works out the trick, attacks leak hostile energy, and plans to break Jinwoo's balance. Jinwoo answers by activating a new skill, murderous intent. Pure killing pressure slams down, and Kang's body simply stops obeying. A monstrous shadow with burning eyes fills his vision, and before he understands it, a blade is through his chest. Jinwoo stands over him, utterly calm. Dying, Kang turns philosophical. Hunters straddle life and death until they become killing machines, and Jinwoo is no different. He accepts the loss, power rules, but begs one answer. What is he? Jinwoo admits he'd like to know that himself. With his last breath, Kang warns that killing him means Jinwoo can't hide his true rank forever. The paralysis and drain finally drag him down, and Jinwoo leaves him with a question. If he's a hunter who levels up, imagine how strong he'll get. The dying assassin whispers that Jinwoo's shadow is tethered to the darkness. He'll grow as powerful as that darkness is deep. Then the man drops dead. The system pays out, and Jinwoo admits the stronger he gets, the more broken he feels. Juhee and Mr. Song stammer their thanks. Without Jinwoo, they'd be corpses. He still has to close the gate, and Song, who's seen his power, doesn't argue. In the killer's body, the system flags a runed stone holding Taesik's stealth skill. Jinwoo pockets it, sends the survivors out to call the association, and stays behind. One corpse is still warm, and Jinwoo tells the man playing dead to get up. Taesik cut the prisoner's vocal cords so he couldn't scream while dying. Jinwoo dangles Juhee's healing, then drags him deeper into the dungeon. The stop is the goblin nest, where Jinwoo asks if he remembers his victims' faces. He won't let garbage worse than Taesik Kang walk free. The goblins swarm, a silent scream fills the dungeon, and the hobgoblin boss is barely a workout. Outside, Song and Juhee brief the association, and senior staff hit the scene. Their inspector does the math. A hired hitman should have left bodies, yet someone closed the gate. Then he recognizes the hooded survivor, Jinwoo Sung, again. The man introduces himself, Jinchul Woo, surveillance team manager, apologizing for their rogue employee. Jinwoo reads the aura opposite him and quietly panics. A rank, untouchable at his current level, so he promises full cooperation. Woo asks who really killed B-rank Taesik Kang, and Jinwoo braces to expose himself. Instead, Mr. Song claims the kill, a C-rank backed by a B-rank healer. Why lie? Song figures Jinwoo hides his strength for a reason, call it repayment. Woo lets it go, but leaves a warning. Only Jinwoo and a D-rank survive Dongsuk Hwang's squad, and Hwang's S-rank brother Dongsu Maywan answers. S-ranks answer to no law. A monster feared by monsters might soon be hunting him. 3 hours later, Jumgang Industries president confesses to hiring Taesik, and the self-defense plea sticks. Jinwoo's status, level 27, title Wolf Assassin, an A-rank collar padding his stats. That evening Juhee tells Jinwoo he's changed so much, while she hasn't changed at all. A B-rank healer belongs in high-rank raids, but fear kept her in the shallow end, where she met him, healing his wounds over and over. His endless injuries used to annoy her. She thought he was reckless and stupid, but he always survived, eyes blazing with defiance. Jinwoo deflects, so she brings up the promised dinner, and presses their old keepsake crystal into his hand. Juhee is retiring, going home to Busan, offering sashimi if he ever visits. He promises to ask her to dinner if he's ever there, and she waves goodbye in tears. His fist tightens around the crystal. Getting stronger is the only way he survives. Cut to a mountainside, where Jinho proudly unveils their new strike squad. It's licensed hunters who can't fight, one injured, one drunk, and a hooded schoolgirl who swears she's a real hunter. By law, a C-rank gate takes 10 hunters. Only Jinwoo and Jinho will actually go inside. The extras get 3 million won per raid to wait outside and stay quiet. Then Jinwoo asks the real question. What is Jinho wearing? Full Italian tempered armor. So heavy that one poke tips him over. He keeps the helmet. The hired crowd mutters as the pair walk in. That's the weakest hunter of all mankind, soloing a C-rank gate. 3 hours later, Jinho staggers out, and the gate closes, boss dead. And there are 2 more gates on today's schedule. Across town, White Tiger Guild staff flags someone paying 250 million won for a C-rank permit. The leader, Jinho Yu, Eugene Construction's youngest son, earning company money on gates. Manager and orders full intel on both, immediately. File assembles itself. Jinwoo Sung survived the double dungeon, the Huang squad wipe, and the Hitman incident. Ad chairman Myung-han used rumored guild plans, and in gets it. Jinwoo is a reawakened hunter. Time to recruit him in person. Meanwhile, in an ice cave, werewolves grind their teeth at a man standing calmly in his own steam. Jinwoo blurs, blades flash, and the cave is painted red before they even register movement. Jinho, mining crystals in his beloved helmet, wonders when the boss got this scary. Jinwoo is level 39, running Tae-6 stealth plus fatal strike and advanced dagger wielding. The werewolf boss charges anyway. 3 clean punctures ended, and the level up chime rolls in. Then something new. The player has reached the required level, and a job change quest has arrived. Level 40, job, none. Jinwoo stares at the word job change. Manager and reaches the gate site and finds the strike squad picnicking while the dungeon closes itself. The schoolgirl challenges him, but is busy realizing Jinwoo may be the best rookie in ages. When the pair emerge, Jinwoo tells Jinho to clear tomorrow and hold their booked permits. They expire in 2 days anyway. Then a business card appears, Sangmin and White Tiger Guild. Over coffee and goes straight in. White Tiger, a top 5 guild, will double whatever Eugene Construction is paying. Jinwoo notes that doubling 30 billion would outprice White Tiger's own headquarters. Isn't handing over the building? And nearly chokes. And suspects a bluff he can't verify. Jinwoo offers proof, and the sums are above In's pay grade anyway. Jinwoo stands, done here, then asks exactly how White Tiger got his information. Something whistles past In's cheek. A voice behind him says do not turn around. Stealth, and In's blood runs cold. He spills it. No evidence, just impossible survivals, and Jinho vetting recruits for his father's guild. Only 2 people know, and In would very much like to keep living. With every local C-rank gate cornered, White Tiger's recruits have nowhere to train. So Jinwoo pitches a today-only deal, his 3 book permits at 300 million each, and screams that a C-rank yields 200 at best, counters, and Jinwoo instantly says deal. They shake on 600 million won, and Jinwoo adds a gift, say ah. The dose heals In's nicked cheek instantly, recovery magic, shared freely as long as In keeps his secret, and leaves convinced this jackpot is bigger than he thought. Then the office erupts. Unclaimed C-rank gates everywhere, 10 million apiece. Jinho's squad just stopped booking, and paid 600 million for scarcity that never existed. Then the text lands. This is Jinwoo Sung, and now we're even for the spying. And just grins. He has Jinwoo's number, and the endgame is still recruitment. Meanwhile, Jinwoo hikes alone into the mountains, cracks his knuckles, and starts the job change quest. A pillar of violet lightning tears open the sky, and something in it will answer. A job change, the system says, and Jinwoo decides that sounds interesting. He walks into the dark wondering what kind of monsters live here. Finally, he thinks, this game is getting real. The gate spits him into a torchlit stone hall, and an armored knight immediately draws steel. He slips the first swing and earns a new skill mid-clash, fatal strike, for daggers only. His dagger bounces off the thick armor without leaving a dent. The knight is slow and weak, though, all defense and wide, lazy swings. Impenetrable skin? Been there. He grabs a plate, rips it clean off, and the system announces his first defeated knight. The fine print is nasty. No exit until the job change is complete. Potions and the store are locked, and leveling here won't restore his stats. Worse, if midnight passes before his daily quest, the penalty zone centipedes come calling again. More metalheads come stomping down the corridor, so he gets creative. He vaults off the cathedral arches, drops on his shoulders, and tears helmets off barehanded. If a blade can't slice through them, he'll just break them down. The wreckage drops loot, an invisible high-rank chest plate, and a pouch holding 30,000 gold. He's mid-celebration when a stealthed assassin's blade whispers up behind his ear. He catches it without turning around. Stealth works on somebody else, apparently. Then light magic screams past his cheek, flung by a hooded mage. It hits him. This dungeon replays hunter battles, class by class. Knights need strength, assassin's perception, archer's agility, mage's stamina, and his fatigue is already at 66. He grinds for hours, snapping arrows out of the air instead of sleeping. The rewards stack up. More gold, invisible gear for every slot, plenty of levels. Then he stands before the boss doors, admitting he has no idea what's behind them. The lair opens with a groan onto fog, torchlight, and bone-chilling air. It's a throne room, and the pressure on his skin feels exactly like the double dungeon. His eyes, his ears, his fingertips, everything remembers. A crimson knight rises beside the throne, cold energy rolling off its armor. The nameplate reads Knight Commander Igris the Bloodred, in red and black lettering. Every other monster's name was plain white. This one is different. A knight guarding an empty throne descends the stairs, and Jinwoo yells at it to bring it. Igris crosses the room in a blink. The first slash misses his neck by a breath. The follow-through carves a stone pillar apart like tofu. Jinwoo's throwing knives stick in its armor and accomplish absolutely nothing. Overpowered, he decides, is an understatement. He spends the next minute diving through explosions as the greatsword remodels the floor. The armor's speed debuff never triggers, which means its strength is above 80. Stronger than him, faster than him, and his dagger can't even scratch it. He can't win without a weapon, and no weapon he owns will pierce that shell. So he cracks his knuckles and squares up to box a boss. Igris responds by planting its greatsword in the floor, pulling Jinwoo's knives out of its own armor, and raising bare fists. Chivalry from a dungeon boss, Jinwoo finds it a little condescending. Then Igris blurs forward and hammers him across the throne room. He blocks, and the impact still craters him through stone. One block strike just cost him 500 HP, and his arms are twitching. One direct hit means death. Even barehanded, this thing is beating him with pure ability. So he leans on the stat he actually owns, speed. Dash carries him in circles around Igris while he lands punch after punch. The crimson armor finally starts to crack. Igris slams him down hard enough to trigger willpower, the passive that halves damage at critical HP. He grins through the blood and keeps swinging anyway. Then Igris catches his leg mid-kick and whips him across the hall like a rag doll. The landing takes out a pillar. He comes to slumped on the throne itself, blood on his chin, lungs heaving. Igris regards the seated intruder and calmly walks back to retrieve its sword. Apparently sitting on the king's chair ends the polite portion of the duel. The greatsword falls like an executioner's stroke, and the dais disappears in dust. But Jinwoo has caught the blade barehanded. His looted knight's gauntlets protect the wearer's hands, a detail that just saved his life. He hasn't lost yet, he snarls, and rams his dagger into Igris's chest. The knight tears the blade out. System items can't be transferred anyway. Fine. Jinwoo summons the dagger back mid-lunge, straight into the eye slit of Igris's helmet. He clings to the commander, screaming, driving the blade deeper. Fatal Strike fires into the same seam, over and over and over. And the Crimson Knight finally crashes to its knees. 2 level-ups land while his hands are still trembling. It beat him in ability, technique, skill, and experience. He won on luck alone. Then the loot hits, for items at once, plus a pouch holding 1.5 million gold. His savings just doubled. The Crimson Knight's helmet turns out to be only his second S-rank item ever. There's also a rune stone holding a skill called Ruler's Hand. And one puzzle, an instant teleportation stone that only drops inside job change quests. An escape item, in a cleared boss room, can only mean this isn't over. Right on cue, portals spin open across the entire hall. The real quest begins now. Survive as long as possible to earn advancement points toward a higher class. A timer starts counting up, and the system wishes him good luck. It does not feel sincere. Knights pour out of the dark, including a giant dragging a mace. Longer survival might even unlock a hidden class, so he does the math on his mana. 200 for stealth plus upkeep buys roughly 3 minutes of invisibility. He vanishes and plans to simply outlast them. Except a mage casts Eyes of Detection, and a pink pupil pops open midair. It can see him. Every knight's visor snaps toward the invisible man, and the swarm buries him in steel. He burns his last 100 mana on murderous intent, having the horde's abilities for 1 minute. He carves through as many bodies as the window allows. Then a blade opens his chest, and his HP dives to 1/10. They're coming faster than he can put them down. 5 minutes on the clock, and he's already weighing surrender. He grabs the teleportation stone to leave, and a mace strike slaps it out of his hand. He hits the floor in the middle of a forest of armored legs, weapons falling like hammers. And then, under the pile, he stands back up with his fist clenched. He was the weakest of them all once, and this opportunity won't come twice. It can't end like this. So it won't. Face down under the knight's boots, Jinwoo drowns in every insult he ever swallowed. Hunters sneer that E-ranks are useless cowards hiding behind stronger people. He screams himself upright, and the flashbacks answer with his nickname, the weakest hunter of all mankind. Colleagues joke that anyone hospitalized by an E-rank gate must be the weakest, and his presence proves today's dungeon is safe. Even kindness cuts, with Juhi begging him to rest while a darker voice asks why he chose the dangerous path. Then the voice steps into view, and it's Jinwoo himself, the scrawny version from before the system. His double admits the new body looks strong, then twists the knife. Everything that changed is physical, and he's still weak, still facing death. A knight's blade crashes down mid-sentence, yet the phantom keeps talking. Jinwoo sung, E-rank hunter. In the end, that's all he is. Jinwoo snarls at it to shut up, and the knights hammer him into the cracked floor. Phantom's farewell is a prophecy. He will kill many, abandon friends and family, and finally kill himself. Then a ping cuts through, the daily quest, unfinished, seconds from failure. The knights lower their swords, credit his freakish luck, and promise to see him again. The timer zeroes out, and the system flags his unfinished workout. Light swallows him ahead of the killing blow, leaving baffled knights around an empty crater. Jinwoo wakes in an endless desert with 104 HP, marveling that a punishment saved his life. The job change quest told him to survive for advancement points, even wishing him luck. He shrugs, opens the shop, and buys its priciest healing potion. His fatigue melts away, but his gutted HP won't move. Leveling up will have to fix that. Right on cue, the sand vomits up giant poison centipedes, and Jinwoo grins. A penalty quest orders him to survive 4 hours, so he stomps a roaring head flat and starts grinding. Whatever doesn't kill him is about to make him much stronger. Across the city, Jaina wakes from a strange dream to an empty apartment. Her brother still isn't home. Today is the parent-teacher meeting, and she drifts back to sleep, promising herself he'll show up. Back in the desert, corpses pile up and level up chimes ring like rain. Jinwoo hits 51, discovers leveling heals him, and zeroes his fatigue. 3 minutes remain, along with one problem. His venom dagger cannot scratch knight armor. So he goes shopping mid-quest. Nearly 3 million gold buys the Night Killer, a sawtooth dagger built to chew through plate. He wraps his arms in bandages, crushes a rune stone, and learns Ruler's Hand, telekinesis that costs no mana. The new skill can't budge anything heavy yet, and the countdown refuses to wait. 0 hits, the desert dissolves, and he lands back among knights whose numbers have multiplied. The system congratulates him on completing his punishment. Round 2 opens with a storm of blades, but the Night Killer changes the math. It shears through armor that shrugged off his fists as he carves a lane forward. Then he notices the scam. Killing knights earns him 0 experience. He hears mages chanting, realizes every knight is a summoned minion, and hurls his dagger into a hood hiding among the ranks. The mage bursts like smoke, its knights collapsing with it. The kill teaches him dagger throw, and the hunt is on. He cloaks himself in stealth. The mages answer with floating detection eyes, and getting spotted cuts both ways. Another summoner falls, and Ruler's Hand yanks the dagger back into his palm. He sides through the ranks, counting mages down like a shopping list. When walls of steel converge, he crushes one knight's helmet shut with a thought and punches through the gap. A blade finally opens his side, and he repays it with interest, standing atop a hill of hollow armor. Bleeding and panting, he roars across the chamber. How long will the mages keep hiding behind their knights? He drags another summoner out of the crowd and finishes it, leaving 3. Cornered, the survivors pour everything into one ritual, and the floor births a stone golem the size of a building. The golem's fists demolish the floor, while Jinwoo skips between shockwaves. He melts into stealth, waits out its burning gaze, then calls go time. One blinding dash later, all 3 are dead, summoning the giant left them open. Without its masters, the golem crumbles mid-swing, every knight collapsing into scrap. 4.5 hours after it began, the system declares the trial room cleared and the job change quest concluded. Now for the reward, except there's no class menu. The system has analyzed his actions, and its verdict reads like an obituary. Death follows him, corpses litter his path, and he relies on nobody. Jinwoo guesses warrior. The system says necromancer. Jinwoo short-circuits, because he's a dagger brawler who never touched intelligence, not a creepy mage with skeleton pets. Weighing his warrior-shaped stats, he presses decline, and the system calmly asks whether he really wants to refuse a hidden class. Hidden classes mean unique powers, the kind that turn guild masters into legends showered with privileges. And the mage army was his free sample. A fighter who commands leveling minions could clear B-rank dungeons entirely alone. Jinwoo stands alone over the wreckage, weighing 2 words that change everything. Accept, and the hunter who fought every battle by himself might never fight alone again. The era of leveling alone might be over, and on that question, everything cuts to black. An undead army that levels beside him, or the lone path that made him. Part 4 opens with his answer. The system settles the job change bill, stacking bonuses for surviving over time, skipping the escape stone, and clearing every night. The total blows past a hidden threshold, and Necromancer instantly upgrades into Shadow Monarch. Jinwoo held his fancy new class for maybe a minute. Every dead knight in the hall now glows with the same extraction prompt. So this is necromancy, turning the fallen into personal minions. The system asks him to designate a command word, and he keeps it simple: arise. Black smoke peels off every corpse, and dozens of soldiers stand up with glowing blue eyes. Jinwoo's honest review: this is sick. The readouts promise 30 extractions and 20 storage slots, with infantry as regulars and mages as elites. He immediately hits the cap, since 27 infantry and 3 mages don't fit in 20 slots. Then he thinks bigger, because why hoard commons when A-rank shadows might exist? 11-foot soldiers go into the void, unrecallable, and he turns to the boss corpse, Knight Commander Igris. The first attempt fails outright. Boss stats and 4 hours of death time wreck the odds, and attempt 2 fizzles. Down to his last try, Jinwoo offers the knight a better job than guarding an empty throne. The third command takes hold. Extraction succeeds, and the shadow boots up at level 7 with naming rights included. Jinwoo tries the full dramatic title, cringes, and trims it down to Igris. The knight rises reborn in black armor, and the status screen now reads level 51, Shadow Monarch, stronger the more he bleeds. With an army rustling at his back, Jinwoo grins and calls it settled. Then he steps through the portal into ordinary daylight, like a man leaving the office. He sleeps until 2 the next afternoon, when Jaina calls about the appointment at her school. He forgot, obviously, and it's at 5. Her suddenly reliable big brother scrambles up promising to be there. A full makeover follows, because you don't meet your sister's homeroom teacher in sweats. A bank stop updates his bank book to over 1.4 billion won, and the stun teller quietly files young Mr. Sung under high-rank hunter. At school, Jaina barely recognizes the polished stranger wearing her brother's face, and hallway gossip crowns him the hot mystery visitor. She offers to introduce him to a cute high schooler, which costs her one pinched cheek. The homeroom teacher gushes that Jaina is med school material. Then the real question, would he let an awakened Jaina become a hunter? His answer is a flat no. She expected that, and admits another awakened student is trying to drop out. Jaina's close friend, an E-rank named Songi Han. Songi shows up hooded and defensive. Jinwoo talks economics instead of lectures. E-ranks can't fight barehanded, and magic weapons wear out faster than paychecks. She snaps that he's an E-rank too, so he drops the sermon. He isn't here to stop her, he's here to make her a great hunter. Meanwhile, an S-rank problem lands at the airport. Dongsu Huang, early and smiling. Association watchdog Jinchul Wu meets him, and neither pretends this is friendly. Jinchul says the quiet part, that Huang came back for Jinwoo Sung and Jin Ho Yu. Huang's answer is a grin and a dare, stay out of the way. Huang even offers Jinchul a scavenger guild job on the way out. Jinchul just remembers the dead brother, a suspected hunter-killer nobody could touch, and files both siblings under trash. That night, Jinwoo brings Songi to watch White Tiger recruits raid a C-rank gate, courtesy of Managerin, and hopes the field trip sells Jinwoo on the guild. The squad leader is Chul Kim, an A-rank tank who hates tourists, and Jinwoo is politely asked to just watch. The gate ripples wrong on the way through, like water with a temper. Then it flashes crimson and seals shut behind the entire squad. Outside, Managerin skips the chain of command and calls the guild master himself. Guild master Yunho Beck can't believe a red gate came from a C-rank reading and races out himself. Across town, Huang asks his association chauffeur about his brother's funeral, then shrugs, since he only wants the garbage the man left behind. Finding Jinwoo is easy, he adds. The guy just entered a dungeon, where outside rules stop applying. Inside, the squad stands in a snowbound forest with no gate behind them. An ice arrow answers the confusion, dropping a recruit instantly. The attackers are ice elves, unreadable to mana senses, and veterans call them ice slayers for how they butcher hunters. Outside, the association insists the gate is still C-rank and refuses to help. Beck runs the math himself, and a red gate means B-rank minimum, possibly A. If it's A-rank, he says, consider everyone inside dead already. Then the punchline, the extra guest is an E-rank. Back in the snow, Jinwoo plucks an arrow out of the air. The elves deliberately picked off the weakest, and 2 months ago that target would have been him. One of them mimes a throat slit, and Jinwoo quietly decides to end them personally. Chul Kim confirms it. They're sealed inside a red gate. Nobody leaves until the boss dies or a months-away dungeon break arrives. He takes charge, but guarantees nothing, since red gates start at B-rank difficulty. Then Kim announces a hand-picked elite team. No C-ranks or lower, no baggage. Time runs strange here, an hour outside stretching into a full day inside. B-rank Heejin Park pointedly asks to stay with the leftovers instead. Heejin caught what the A-rank missed, Jinwoo snatching that arrow, and asks him directly whether he's really an E-rank. Outside, Managerin finally shares his theory with Beck. Sung is probably a reawakened being. Everyone agrees Chul can handle this. Nobody realizes the deadliest thing in that gate walked in as a spectator. The association brass debate the trap team's odds. Manager Ju talks up trainee ace Chul Kim and Needles Inspector Jinchul about his supposedly reawakened E-rank. Jinchul mutters they'll see who's right. Then a car screeches up. S-rank Dongsu Huang of the Scavenger Guild, a long way from America. He grills Beck, the White Tiger Guild master, asking whether they recruited that loser Jinwoo Sung, the wuss who just went inside. Beck's eyes flare gold, wondering how even this man knows that name. Inside, the teams have split. Heejin says trainees are drilled to expect the unexpected, and Chul is even bound for White Tiger's elite squad. Then she asks again whether Jinwoo is really an E-rank, and privately guesses A-rank or higher. On the other trail, Chul scoffs that the E-rank has led innocent people to their deaths. Then he catches himself, wondering why he assumes Jinwoo is the leader. Who cares? The man's dead anyway. An ice bear erupts from the snow, and Chul cuts it down with A-rank efficiency. His rookies gush while he orders bear meat carved to stretch their rations, privately deciding the other team is already bear food. Meanwhile, Heejin begs Jinwoo to stop, because the marked trees mean this is the ice bear's forest. He agrees it's full of bears, which is exactly why they're going in. She sputters, asking if he's trying to get killed. Logic is airtight. Bears beat intelligent ice elves any day, and a forest full of ice bears has no predators strong enough to eat them. Then he opens his inventory and hands out fur coats, since frozen teammates fight badly. The rookies gawk, because summoning magic can't carry this much gear. Jaina's little classmate asks what he is, and Jinwoo pats her head. He brought them here, so he'll protect them. One rule though, no questions, no demands. A red-eyed monster of a bear finds them anyway. Heejin moves to bait it, and gets yanked back by the collar. Magic beasts are his job now. Jinwoo swaps titles to Wolf Assassin, 40% stronger against animals. The bear charges, and Jinwoo doesn't bother drawing a weapon, because with the title stacked on his level, bare hands will do. One vaulting blow caves the beast in, the squad goes silent, and the system announces a level up. Outside, Beck asks what business an S rank has with Hunter Sung. None of his, purely amusement. And with a red gate sealed, Dongsu can't even go kill him. Manager and privately notes Jin was luck, if he comes back at all. Inside, the squad grills bear meat while Jaina's classmate digs for gossip, and Jinwoo reveals his honor student sister is a fried chicken-loving sleepyhead. The bears have gone quiet, since the captain put them on the endangered species list. Then Jinwoo leaves to work off the meal, and the rookies conclude he's weird. Really, skipping his daily quest means a penalty zone he can't risk here. Warm-up done, he goes hunting and finds a cave full of glowing red eyes. He smiles, calls it a fair fight, and summons. Shadow soldiers boil out for their very first battle, and he sends them in with one word. They shred the pack, nearly immortal, but they drink his mana dry. Then the big boss lumbers out, a scarred alpha that swats shadow soldiers into smoke. Jinwoo's mana hits 0, and the fallen can't regenerate, so he calls his ace, Igris, who draws steel as the monster closes in. Igris is winning, dodging and stabbing, carving the giant open. The bleeding boss rears up for one last defiant roar. It doesn't matter. Igris runs his sword clean through, and the giant drops. Jinwoo admits Igris would have beaten him back then with a sword. Even at level 52, they're roughly even. So he claims the whole pack. Arise. Even the alpha stands back up as a shadow beast, and a test swipe earns an approving nod. Outside, 3 hours have passed, which means 3 days inside, and the suits write off everyone below B rank. Dongsu yawns that he's wasted his time, then wonders why a guildless E rank went in at all. Manager uncovers smoothly. He's known Jinwoo for ages, and the man just needed money. Beck clocks the lie, realizing and is protecting this hunter. Dongsu pretends to buy it, then snatches him by the collar and demands the truth. A hand locks around Dongsu's wrist. It's Beck, eyes gone gold, telling him to let go. Dongsu sneers at the big fish in his small pond, and he can only sweat. 2 S ranks, about to go at it. Inside, Chul's squad found the real monsters first. Yetis are eating his team while he howls that he, Chul Kim, cannot have failed. Then an ice lance rips past, and masked riders emerge, ice slayers. The elves carve up the survivors almost playfully, and Chul does the heroic thing. He runs. Behind him, a rider on a pale horse walks out of the snow. Outside, the S-rank stop talking. Claws crack out, white fur spreads, and the two slam together hard enough to crater the street. Deep in the woods, Chul swears the cold and the hunger are the only reasons he lost. Then he hits a field of butchered ice bears and bolts, because whatever cleared this forest is still close. The brawl ends when Inspector Jinchul catches both fists. He suspects Jin was reawakening himself, but the man measured E rank 2 months ago. The squad Dongsu mourns died in the Eugene Construction Air's trap. Dongsu barely blinks, because the grief was only ever an excuse to kill someone. He stalks off to bed, while Jinchul quietly bets that Jinwoo is coming back alive. Inside, the camp is laughing over dinner when a frost-caked Chul Kim spots their coats, tents, and roasting meat. Something in him snaps, and he storms in screaming. He demands to know who hoarded the supplies that doomed his team, promising to spare everyone except the guilty. Nobody answers, so he draws his blade and counts. By 2, he's settled on Heejin, who did switch squads, after all. He lunges at her screaming 3, and a hand closes on his skull with a quiet 4. Jinwoo plants him face first into the frozen ground, and the rookies cheer their captain. Jinwoo asks who exactly put whom in danger, since Chul even brought uninvited guests. He tells the trees to drop the stealth, because energy that strong can't hide. And there it is, an elf rider on a pale horse radiating boss-level power, 20 more behind it. The elf leader sneers that a treasure is hiding among the human trash, and Jinwoo asks who it's calling trash. Then both sides freeze, because the human just answered in the monster's own tongue. The boss mentions a soldier who found a strong human and wants a formal duel. Jinwoo crosses the snow and cuts the challenger down before the sentence even ends. And yes, that's the whole negotiation. He invites the stunned boss to finish its thought, and the creature only grins wider, calling him amusing. One clash of blades later, Jinwoo accepts this one won't go down easily. Instead of pressing on, the elf proposes a deal, but first it wants one answer. Why does Jinwoo stand with the humans when he clearly isn't one of them? Every elf, it explains, hears a voice in its head ordering it to kill humans. Yet that voice goes silent in front of Jinwoo. He wonders if player status is what marks him different. The offer, hand over the humans behind him and walk away alive. Jinwoo counters by asking who they are and why they hunt people, and mid-answer the elf stutters and freezes like a corrupted video. Then it resets and repeats its earlier lines word for word, like a script it isn't allowed to leave. Something forbids that answer, so Jinwoo declines the deal flat. The boss gestures at more than 20 soldiers and asks if one human plans to fight them alone. Jinwoo smirks, and the ground answers as his shadow army boils out of it. The students gape at black soldiers and black ice bears, realizing their E-rank escort is doing all of it. The boss just calls it a neat little trick. The clearing becomes a war, and the adults haul the students clear of it. Jinwoo does the math. Shadows respawn but drain mana. They can handle elves now, and the boss still outlevels him. He catches himself wishing for one truly powerful soldier, because Igris alone can't tip this. The monster introduces itself as Barca, and Jinwoo trades his own name back. The duel turns ugly. Jinwoo takes a hit, loses ground, and rolls back up in the snow. Barca, meanwhile, is grinning about his most exciting fight in ages. His mage soldiers carpet the field in explosions to buy him room to breathe. And under the snow something half-dead stirs. Chul Kim, the traitor instructor, kept alive by hatred. Jinwoo tells him to quit stalling and come out. Barca comes howling back through the smoke, but the real ambush is Chul Kim lunging at Jinwoo's back, red-eyed and screaming his name. Barca cheerfully counts two of them who want this human dead. Igris intercepts before the blade lands and runs the traitor clean through. Chul Kim dies, accusing Jinwoo of expecting this from the start, and Jinwoo's face doesn't bother denying it. Barca laughs that one dead ally changes nothing, and Jinwoo agrees, because that was never the point. He gives the command to rise, and the corpse screams as a shadow far bigger than the man tears itself upright. The system asks for a name, and since Chul means iron, the new knight-rank soldier becomes Iron. Barca scoffs at the reinforcement, so Iron opens with a taunt that drops the dungeon's master into blind aggro. The Berserk boss shreds Iron's slow swings and sneers, so Jinwoo offers 3 opponents at once. Watching Shadow Knights swarm a boss, the students wonder out loud whether they're dreaming. Jinwoo finally plants his dagger in the boss, but paralysis and drain both fizzle against its resistance. Barca sneers at the persistent garbage around him, and Jinwoo suggests he look around at his dead soldiers. Then Barca charges, promising the shadows die with their master, and Jinwoo answers by throwing his dagger away. Ruler's hand whips the blade back even faster, cracking Barca's guard open from behind while a shadow pins him. The mage soldiers dump everything onto the pinned boss at once, and what staggers out of the blast is scorched, furious, and still promising murder. Jinwoo opens him up with one slash and calls it finished. Barca grips the blade in his chest and howls that it isn't over, so the whole shadow army lands on him at once. The system sides with Jinwoo, Dungeon Master defeated, 2 level-ups, and 1 very tired exhale. Iron keeps pounding the corpse until the students beg it to stop, one whispering that it's as merciless as Chul was. Jinwoo calls it off, quietly worried, and announces they're heading out. One touch of the boss room orb reopens the way home, and the kids actually cheer while Jinwoo lingers over Barca's corpse. Outside, it's 3 in the morning, a week has passed on the inner side, and the red gate finally reopens. 5 survivors walk out to shouted names. Jinwoo, Heejin Park, Myungwon Ko, Kajung Yoon, and 1 student. Guildmaster Yunho Baek counts 9 dead, including his A rank, and demands answers, but Jinwoo just offers Songi a ride home. Baek grabs his shoulder and pulls rank. 9 guild members died, and a president deserves answers. Jinwoo counters that he saved the remaining 3, so gratitude comes first, and the beast-eyed guild master actually apologizes. In the debrief, Heejin reports that after the kill, Jinwoo stood over the corpse repeating something 3 times. Baek decides this man is worth losing an arm over and orders Sangmin to recruit him at any cost. The flashback explains the muttering. Shadow extraction failed on Barca 3 times, the ability gap too wide. The consolation prize is Barca's own dagger, an A-grade blade enchanted to weigh nothing at all. He drops Songi home, where she thanks him, upgrades him to bro, and promises to see him in a few hours. The clock reads 10 to 4. After a week inside, barely a day passed out here. A few hours later, Jinho waits on the sidewalk in full golden armor, cab delivered. They swing by for 1 more passenger, and Jinho short-circuits at his boss, casually phoning Songi. Jinho's brain assembles the evidence, and he gently reminds his boss that Songi is a minor. Jinwoo's blank stare settles nothing, and Jinho concludes his boss is simply built different. The next dungeon, Stone Golem, goes down under a pile of shadow soldiers, while Jinho stares in open horror. Jinwoo shrugs that it's one of his skills. Long story, and the story is only getting started. Jinwoo's shadow soldiers now hunt magic beasts entirely on their own, and Jinho, feeling replaced, asks whether he's at least still allowed to collect the essence stones. One day later the promise is complete, 19 raids in a row. Then the view jumps to an American A-rank dungeon, where a wild-haired stranger has flattened a strike squad while insisting, in Korean, that he's human and wants to go home. Over celebratory pork belly, Jinho plans to pass the guildmaster test, then bargain with his father. Jinwoo, whose system cheerfully detoxes the alcohol, answers that he'll be unreachable for a while. He's holding a key that opens a demon's castle. Drunk Jinho turns honest. His older brother has never liked him, but the boss who saved his life feels like real family. Jinwoo takes a breath and formally adopts him as a little brother, which reduces Jinho to grateful sobbing. Meanwhile, reporters mob the Red Gate story. Only high rankers died while low rankers walked out, and rumor credits a mysterious helper. The White Tiger Guild denies everything on camera, while Jinwoo wonders if the whole country is talking about him. That guild's master has his own problem. Retired S-rank healer Byunga Min calls from Japan, which quietly asked Jeju survivors for advice. The giant ants that took that island 4 years ago have mutated, and a winged carcass just washed up off Japan. Jaina pries about the week-long trip and assumes a girlfriend. The truth is a burning tower of a gate. He was past level 20 against Cerberus, and he has tripled since. The key turns, and a new quest pings inside an empty hall. Quest: harvest 10,000 demon souls for any shop item, 20 ability points, and a mystery reward. Then the doors open on the actual hunting ground, a burning, blood-moon replica of Soul, crawling with 10,000 demons. So he grinds. The system now shows raw experience totals. Low-ranked demons melt by the dozen, and a clock is quietly ticking on this castle. Meanwhile, over a formal dinner, Jinho slides his new license across and asks his father for the Eugene Guild. The chairman starts his speech about outsiders and power, stops mid-sentence, and introduces a guest, Myung-won Ko, Red Gate survivor, White Tiger Guild. Jinho recognizes the face every reporter in the country wants. Prompted, Ko names the outsiders at that training session, schoolgirl Song Han and Jinwoo Sung, and admits White Tiger gagged its survivors about Jinwoo, an order he always resented. The chairman flips a folder open to Jinwoo's photo. He chased the rumor himself, and observes that his son picked a terrible week to negotiate. Then he hands over the guild anyway, because a risky son beats a trustworthy stranger. One condition: recruit Jinwoo Sung. He has already approached 2 S ranks himself. Hain Sha, tired of Jong and Choi's shadow, and retired healer Min, whom a 4th Jeju raid would reactivate, and cheerfully turns recruitment into a father-son race. Back in the castle, the soul counter crawls past 300. A level every 4 hours, instead of 9 dungeons per level. Yinho Beck showed him how thin bottom tier S rank is, and this is the fix. The entry permit unlocks floor 2 via a circle sitting where Soul's tower should be. Jinwoo summons his newest heavyweight, the Ice Bear boss's shadow, rides it through shrieking demon packs, and names it Tank after it flattens a monster the size of a truck. Cut to Washington, D.C., where the wild-haired prisoner insists he's a Korean hunter. The theory: a beast wearing a dead man's memories. So they call the Scavenger Guild's Korean-speaking S rank. Hwang, freshly back from Korea, furious that the punk he meant to kill died in a Red Gate. The prisoner finally gets a name: Hunter Ilwon Sung. In the castle, the rules crystallize. 100 floors, each its own world, each gated behind a permit drop. Jinwoo blows through the 40s. Souls past 2,500, worried a week won't reach the top. Floor 50 is a wall, the armored Vulcan's guard, and their master on a bone throne, avaricious Vulcan, lord of the lower floors. Jinwoo dodges fireballs the size of houses, then leaves the army to his shadow soldiers and claims the boss personally. He reads the seated demon as lazy, get close, end it quickly, and the read is instantly badly wrong. Vulcan moves like a sprinter strapped to a rocket, scattering shadow soldiers and hammering one flat while Jinwoo gawks. Jinwoo slips the follow-up swings by inches, then answers with one furious counterpunch that launches the demon through a city block. He checks the window, strength 150, and remembers where all those points went. Vulcan rises and triggers rage, every ability up by half, pain dialed down, the same tricks Cerberus once used. The charge comes down like a meteor, so Jinwoo shouts for iron, and the giant shadow catches it with a bellow. Iron and the demon trade earthquake blows while Jinwoo tanks whatever leaks through. His strength absorbs the hits, but he needs to land his own. The opening is mid-attack, he decides, and Vulcan, irritatingly, works out the exact same timing. A backhand hurls him skyward, helpless in midair, until Ruler's hand activates and he shoves his own body out of the strike's path. If the skill can't push a demon around, it can absolutely push him. A dagger to the head will end this, but not while dodging. He needs a trap Vulcan can't refuse. So he sprints, taunting the raging demon into a full charge, then cuts up a leaning tower while Vulcan, unable to break, piles into it. Jinwoo dives and buries a glowing dagger in the demon's skull. As the death roar fades, the scene cuts to Seoul, where Jinchul Woo's team is knocking on doors. No travel records, no card activity, a phone that died mid-city. So where exactly is Hunter Sung? He's busy looting an archdemon. Thank you. Vulcan crumbles to stone, and the boss-level payout glitters. Demon Monarch's earrings, twin horns, purified world tree wood, and a sphere of avarice. The earrings carry hidden set bonuses, so he wears them, eyeing the matching necklace and ring. The sphere doubles magic damage, a jackpot for anyone with a magic skill, which he lacks. And behind him Igris lands on the stragglers, striking his master's exact pose. Jinwoo hands the crimson sphere to one of his shadow mages and picks out a distant ruined tower. He gives the order, and the mage obliges with a screaming fireball. The blast flattens half a city block, and Jinwoo files away a useful fact. His gear can be handed to his soldiers. Somewhere far away, a voice muses that Washington, D.C. is turning out to be fun. In an American cell, an interrogator accuses a wild-haired prisoner of being a Korean-speaking magic beast. The man insists he's human, but he did walk out of a gate after 10 years inside. His own question is stranger. Can the dungeon dead come back? Dead is dead, the interrogator scoffs. Asked about gates, the prisoner drops the act. This is all warm-up for a real war whose greatest threat has just opened its eyes. He came back alone to stop it, because numbers won't matter, and amateurs get eaten or enslaved. The file finally yields a name. Ilwon Sung, missing 10 years and barely aged. The interrogator reads out his family, wife Kyung-hae, daughter Jina, and the prisoner supplies his son's name himself, Jinwoo Sung. This wreck of a man is Jinwoo's father. The interrogator, S-rank Dong-soo Hwang, just back from Korea, turns on the killing intent. Your son is dead, he purrs. Deliver your last words in heaven. Ilwon's power erupts. Heaven, he decides, is offering him a second chance. Back in the demon castle, Jinwoo's climb reaches a graveyard floor under a blood-red moon, held by an entire army of armored undead. He summons Iron and Igris with a 2-word battle plan. Clear a path. Iron wades and swinging, launching skeletons by the dozen, while Igris carves through the horde like a scalpel. The graveyard's robed boss asks, almost hurt, if Jinwoo is surprised by his soldier's strength. Jinwoo answers by appearing on the boss's own monument, dagger already drawn. The Lich, a creature made of death, flinches. Do the undead feel fear? Jinwoo wonders. It doesn't matter. He shreds the thing into bone splinters. The system logs the kill, Metis, Guide of Souls, and pays out spring water, hundreds of demon souls, and 2 level-ups. But the Lich's shadow refuses extraction. Demon mana is too contaminated. The consolation prize is the S-rank Demon Monarch's necklace. 2 set pieces together grant a buff worth 5 level-ups, with only the ring still missing. Then his soul counter rolls past 10,000, closing the quest. The rewards, any item he wants, 20 ability points, and a mystery prize. Jinwoo again picks the cursed mystery box, which gives what the player needs rather than what he wants. It spits out a nameless key the system refuses to describe. He pockets it anyway. 20 points go straight into intelligence. Then the mystery prize unfurls, a crafting formula for something called the elixir of life. Jinwoo stares at the scroll like it might evaporate. In Washington, rescuers comb a flattened city block, whispering of an S-rank battle. There was no hope, one mutters, for Hunter Dong-soo Hwang. And the man who buried an S-rank simply walks out of the rubble. In a quiet hospital room, Jinwoo sits beside his sleeping mother. The elixir cures every disease, maybe even hers. 2 of its 3 ingredients already sit in his inventory, and the last, the Demon Monarch's purified blood, waits on the castle's top floor. He promises her he'll be back soon, done pretending to be weak. Meanwhile, the news buzzes about a suspicious explosion at Washington's Hunter Command Center. At the Korean Association, clerks roll their eyes at another E-rank asking for reevaluation. But a scout is already dialing White Tiger's guild master, Yunho Baek. The hunter he flagged, Jinwoo Sung, just walked in and filled out the paperwork. The waiting hall crawls with guild recruiters ready to pounce on anyone D-rank or better. Jinwoo recalls how Chi-Yul Song's swordsmanship still lost to a higher-ranked hunter. Rank is everything here. Then it's his turn, a name, and a hand on the big black measuring sphere. The sphere flares like a dying star, and the meter spits out a single word, error. The rattled operator fakes a bathroom break and sprints upstairs. The verdict turns everyone pale. Not an error, unmeasurable, unheard of since Hain Cha 2 years ago. That makes quiet Jinwoo Sung the 10th S-rank in Korean history. Elsewhere, manager Jinchul Woo assures Hunter's Guild president Jong In-choi that Dong-soo Hwang wasn't the Red Gate's secret helper. Woo suspects who was. He keeps the name to himself. Choi shrugs off talk of Jeju Island's dead winged ant. Then his senses twitch toward Building B. Back in the hall, the crowd is melting down. A stopped evaluation can only mean S-rank. Then Jong In-choi himself strolls in, the ultimate hunter, president of Korea's #1 guild. Even the recruiters shrink back. Nobody outbids the hunters. Choi needs no manometer. One glance tells him Jinwoo is high level. He introduces himself and asks whether Jinwoo fancies joining a guild. Jinwoo's answer, no time, sorry. He has medicine to craft in a demon's castle. Choi only grins wider. Sign this man. And the hunters field 3 S ranks, the best on the planet. Then White Tiger's Yunho Beck skids in, panting from a cross-city sprint. His guilty face tells Choi everything. The nameless Red Gate helper is that man. Beck curses, the sly fox caught on. At night, Jinwoo watches his mother sleep. She looks ready to simply open her eyes. Eternal sleep has no cure. It arrived with the gates, but he promises to save her. Outside, Manager Wu explains that his surveillance team polices law-breaking hunters. Unless, Jinwoo notes, the hunter is S rank. Wu leads him down a dark corridor. Someone important wants to meet him. Waiting is Gun He-go, president of the Hunters Association, a smiling grandfather wrapped in a faint red aura. One handshake tells Jinwoo the 80-year-old is S rank himself, still built like a wrestler. Go admits the 3-day remeasurement is theater, a grace period, the association's brief head start before the guilds swarm a new hunter. Money and fame live in the guilds, so nobody strong stays with the association. The association can't outbid a guild's money, Go concedes, but it can offer something no guild can, making Jinwoo Sung the #1 priority of the entire association. Jinwoo leans in and asks exactly what that means, and the volume slams shut on the old man's answer. What can the association offer that a guild's money cannot buy? Part 5 opens with the old man's answer. Association President Gun He-go makes his pitch. Hunters sustain this country, and the association stands above the hunters. He'll position Jinwoo as high as the association itself. Jinwoo hears about Korea's 5 great guilds and wonders if this is really about political power. The proposal is solid, and Go's influence reaches Congress, the government, and the media. But Jinwoo can also feel that this smiling old man matches his own leveled-up strength. Then the truth comes out. Go is running out of time and needs a successor. Jinwoo's answer is a quiet apology. Money, Go guesses. No, Jinwoo wants to fight, and the association only handles the D and E rank dungeons that guilds won't touch. No fights means no leveling, and Jinwoo says it plainly. He belongs inside a dungeon. Go reads those eyes and knows it's the truth. For the first time in decades, the old man's heart is pounding. 10 years younger, he thinks, and he'd fight beside this kid himself. After Jinwoo leaves, Go hands Inspector Jinchul Wu the real puzzle. Jinwoo denies clearing the double dungeon. Then who did? Go admits even high-rank healing magic can't cure old age, and the mega-guilds turn feral the moment the association weakens. Today, though, he cancels on the ministers. That boy made his tired heart feel full. In an American hospital, S-rank Dong-soo Hwang jolts awake from a nightmare of glowing eyes and an unstoppable fist. The beating Il-won Sung gave him was real, and a visitor is already at the door. Agent Connor wants to know if he's certain Il-won Sung is a magic beast, because the surveillance footage shows the man rescuing humans. Dong-soo snaps back. Has anyone ever heard of a human walking out of a gate? Connor lets it drop and leaves him to stew. Il-won vanished right after the fight, and Connor doubts anyone alive could apprehend him. Dong-soo replays the parting thread. Never set foot in Korea, and vows that once he's healed and re-geared, he'll tear that bastard apart. Back in Korea, Jinwoo runs into the hunter economy's wall. Gear is life, and high-rank gear costs hundreds of millions to billions of won. The demon's castle's upper floors are a literal firestorm, so he decides to sell the Sphere of Avarice, an archdemon relic that doubles magic damage. Except an E-rank offering an item that shouldn't exist would raise every red flag in the market. What he needs is a work record inside a high-rank gate, and right on cue, there's a posting. At the association, Go studies Jinwoo's file. For years as one of the weakest E-ranks alive. A hidden reawakening doesn't fit. He would never have let his whole party die in the double dungeon. Then a report lands. Jinwoo has joined a hunter's guild raid, as a minor. At the gate, a bearded foreman double-checks the paperwork, and the E-rank in a hard hat just says yes. The foreman hands him a pickaxe and explains the pipeline. Strike squads kill, collection teams haul the carcasses, and excavation teams strip the walls. Jinwoo stares up at his first A-rank gate, quietly delighted that someday he'll raid places like this. Inside, the strike squad's red-haired mage politely asks the horrors hiding in the dark to come out. One finger snap unleashes a firestorm that vaporizes the ambush, and the tanks slam gold shields down to ride out the blast. He even held back, to keep the bodies sellable. When the squad finally files out, the miners realize they're watching Korea's best raid team, and Jinwoo yanks his helmet down, because that mage is Jong-in Choi, the Hunter's Guild Master and the country's #2. Behind him walks Vice Guild Master Hain Cha, an S-rank possibly stronger than Jong-in himself. She stops mid-stride. For a second she felt an energy she'd only expect from President Go. It's gone now, like she imagined it. The dig begins, and Jinwoo notes her senses are keener than he expected. His co-workers bet the E-rank newbie will slow everyone down. until one glare from under his helmet ends the shoving. He asks the obvious question. What happens if the boss leaves its lair mid-shift? Everyone dies. The foreman shrugs, but it hasn't happened once in his 3 years. Jinwoo can feel the boss's magic vibrating through the rock. Ignorance really is bliss. That pressure outclasses Vulcan and Metis, yet this mid-rank squad clears A-rank gates on pure skill, experience, and discipline. Then Jinwoo starts swinging, gems rain off the walls, and the veterans demand to know if this is really his first day. At lunch he stays behind, buying himself an hour alone, and walks straight to the boss's lair. The giant inside is stronger than anything he's ever killed, and for a moment he's tempted. But killing it would close the gate and torch the guild's payday. And then a voice behind him asks what exactly he's doing. It's Hain-cha, and she closed the distance without him sensing a thing. He plays the lost newbie. She could swear he was holding a weapon, but his hands are empty. She warns him off. Aggro the boss and everyone in this dungeon dies, then stops him on his way out and sniffs. Her world tilts. This man has no odor. She's checking his hunter license before she can stop herself. A-rank, Jinwoo sung, then waves him off, rattled. Watching him go, she corrects herself. He actually smells nice. The miners explain the mystery. To Hain's hypersensitive nose, every hunter reeks. Jinwoo thinks back to the Ice Slayer's boss, which heard a voice ordering it to kill humans. A voice that went silent in front of him. No scent, no kill command. So what exactly is a player? Payday, the crew wrapped 2 hours early, and the foreman offers him steady work on the spot. Sung was born to be a miner. Jinwoo declines, until he hears the magic words. Tomorrow the B team hits another A-rank gate. 2 simultaneous A-rank raids with 2 separate teams. That is Hunters Guild money. Jinwoo asks where to report, and the delighted foreman promises double pay for a man who works like 5. That night, Jinho-yu treats his cousin Suyun to cheap pork belly and big news. The guildmaster negotiation with his father went well. All he needs now is his boss, who has been dodging his calls for over a week. Suyun eyes the tier-streaked call log and asks if he's dating this guy, because this is creepy. Bar TV's hype superstar Minsung Lee's awaken rank evaluation in 3 days, and patrons scoff that an A-rank doing publicity is all show. Suyun brands him a spotlight-hogging media manipulator. Then she snatches Jinho's phone and dials this mysterious boss herself. Jinwoo finally answers and shrugs off a week of silence. He was in a dungeon. Jinho gushes and begs to meet about the guild negotiation. Jinwoo agrees to tomorrow evening, and across the city another call begins. Sleepless at her window, Hain-cha asks a contact to dig into Jinwoo's song. She refuses to believe their meeting at the boss's lair was coincidence. The association has classified his file like a high ranker's. President Choi requested the same file yesterday, and she hangs up, certain now. She flops face first onto her bed, wondering why he's different. Out of every hunter her heightened senses have ever suffered, he's the only one who actually smelled nice. Next morning the excavation crew mobs Jinwoo with greetings and lunch invitations, and he quietly admits this warmth brings back memories he doesn't mind. The tannoy calls a break after another fast morning. Then an armored stranger walks up with a question. The stranger is Strike's squad captain Ki-hun's son, whose luggage carrier never showed. The miners balk and the foreman fumes about his crew's unpaid overtime. Ki-hun offers hazard pay to any volunteer, but nobody will risk an A-rank dungeon for pennies. These are D-ranks who die to a single touch. Then a hand goes up. The site erupts. An E-rank volunteering for an A-rank gate? Co-workers beg him not to die for money, and Jinwoo just says he doesn't frighten easily. Jinwoo's real motive. Even hauling luggage, he can study an A-rank raid up close. The miners chuckle that the new kid volunteered out of ignorance, but Ki-hun overrules the doubters and offers a handshake, then watches Jinwoo shoulder the giant pack like it's nothing. The new gate dwarfs yesterday's, yet its measured magic is lower. High-risk dungeons don't get second units. And this one is stacked, 11 A ranks and 6 B ranks, missing only S ranks. Heading in, Jinwoo confirms the low reading himself, then catches the same bad prickle as the red gate. A system chime marks the entry, and a kind healer assures the carrier the B ranks here are nearly A, squad wisdom. A luggage carrier only gets attacked once the squad is annihilated. Ki-hun steals himself, succeed here, and he's officially the B team leader. Then something rustles in the dark. Red blurs burst from the tunnel, dungeon jackals, and every hunter is battle-ready without a single order. The squad carves the pack apart with casual efficiency, and the mage yells for everyone to duck before torching the survivors in one blast. The healer flags it. Jackals are C-rank fodder that shouldn't survive here. Marks around their necks say something kept them as hunting dogs, and Jinwoo knows intelligent magic beasts are the dangerous kind. Huge footsteps answer him. A wall of elite high orcs marches out of the dark. The orcs roar and charge. Ki-hun catches a war club on his shield, and the impact cracks it clean across. Worse, aggro skills simply slide off these things, and they vault straight past the tank toward the mages as explosions swallow the line. Fire magic fizzles against one brute, and Gina's telepathy pins him for 5 seconds at best. So the summoner calls out 2 minions as strong as A-rank hunters, a trump card that locks his spells and bleeds mana when they're hit. Meanwhile, the tank is flailed around with every skill repelled. Kahun orders everyone into groups of 3. Nobody expected a high-level species, and the gate's reading was never this high. 22 top-grade orcs against 17 hunters is an army, and the B ranks can't trade blows with them. Kahun accepts sacrifices as inevitable, just as a B rank is impaled. The healer kneels over a wounded hunter, pouring light into a mangled leg. Behind her, an orc slithers close, breathing on her neck, and she freezes. Then Jinwoo's eyes flash blue in the shadows, and the orc collapses, throat opened, killer unseen. The healer slowly turns toward the hooded luggage carrier. The healer stammers about what just happened, and mid-fight Kahun pants that this is somehow getting easier. It is. Jinwoo is carving orcs down from the edges, unseen. A few finally catch on and surround him, so he kills them at point-blank range instead. A brawler finally hammers one orc down and celebrates, but Jinwoo knows even Korea's elite are barely holding. Their healer nearly died. So he keeps cutting until a chime announces a level up. Leveling from support work is new, but the hunters paid for this raid, so he tags out. The dust settles with, miraculously, no fatalities. But the bespectacled mage can detect stealth and knows who moved. The healer reports an orc ripped in half by unseen magic. Gina denies it. Nobody here specializes in curses, so the caster must be an outsider, and the mage lets it slide, for now. The orc's strange behavior has Kahun uneasy about continuing, and high orcs at the entrance promise worse below. Retreating on his first command stings, but he can't chance it, and Jinwoo silently approves. A wise leader walks away. Kahun calls the retreat, showing his trembling hands as proof. Then a scream. The way out is sealed behind a swirling barrier of high-level magic. It was open minutes ago, and undoing it takes time. Something in this dungeon casts high-level magic, and a massive vortex tears open as if to underline it. Gina scrambles to unravel the barrier, while Jinwoo fixates on a wave of magic he never felt from outside. A boss that hides its presence is next level. Then a curse spell detonates across the mages, dropping them coughing blood and the stomping resumes. At least 50 more high orcs pour in. A towering chieftain with a skull-painted face walks up to Kahun, and the healer begs him to stand down. His gauntlet trembles on the hilt, wishing Choi or Haincha were here. The chieftain roars an Orcish chant, echoed by its army, then grinds out words in human speech. It names itself Kargalgan and claims it wants to meet the humans. The squad realizes the chieftain is only a puppet. Kahun smells a trap, but asks if it sealed the exit. No human power breaks its magic, it boasts, then rages at being asked if anything stronger lurks here. The ultimatum lands flat: die to its soldier hands, or follow them. Kahun answers that they will go, over his squad's protests. The puppet turns and orders the humans to follow. Jinwoo tallies the odds. More high orcs and the boss wait inside that lair, while Kahun quietly calls for Hunter Sung. The real plan: meet the boss, then attack all at once. Win or lose, the barrier drops, and Jinwoo must escape and call the main squad. Jinwoo notes help will come too late. Is Kahun planning to die? The answer: their job is closing the gate, not surviving it. Then the healer presses a small notebook into Jinwoo's hands. Her will, for her family. She's trained for this ending, she says, but he isn't. Get out alive. He pockets it, doubting he'll ever get to deliver it. With power like the bosses in play, nobody knows how this ends. Back at camp, an S-rank in a pink ball cap is looking for her favorite miner. Hain asks the crew where Jinwoo went, and the answer floors her. He volunteered as a luggage carrier. The absent porter's slot took him straight into an A-rank gate. She remembers the weapon he was holding in the boss's lair yesterday, and it wasn't imagination. Deeply suspicious, she asks the miners for a weapon. Anything. A sword, a spear. They offer her a pickaxe, because of course they do. The foreman worries about her going in unarmed, so she grabs the pickaxe and bolts through the gate. He nods approvingly. Never go in empty-handed. Deep inside, the strike squad has reached a throne hall out of a nightmare. Banners of skin hang over an arena packed with high orcs, and 4 hulking guards flank the stairs. On the throne sits a horned shaman wrapped in skulls, and he greets the humans like invited guests. The hunters do the math below. Enough high orcs here to erase a small city before top hunters could even arrive. Captain Kahun whispers the plan. On his signal, everyone charges straight at the shaman, guards or no guards. The boss flexes his glowing fingers and asks if they're afraid of him. Then the shaman stands, and raw mana slams the room like a physical weight. Veterans buckle, a mage stammers that he's on another level, and the captain demands to know why they were even brought here. The answer is one word: entertainment. He'll kill them one by one for his minions' amusement, and the arena roars. The hunters finally understand. To this thing, their desperate resistance is a floor show. Jinwoo stands quietly among them, and the boss notes something odd about one human. Kahun gives the signal, and the whole squad charges at once. aiming straight for the shaman. He leaps for the kill, but a zodiac circle flares. A crystal guardian materializes and swats him out of the air. The shaman calls him a fool and stacks anti-gravity with gravity acceleration. Ki-hun becomes a rag doll, slammed from ceiling to floor until his armor crumples. His squad screams as the captain drops, and then quiet footsteps cross the arena. Jinwoo walks to the dying captain and asks a strangely formal favor. This is the Hunters Guild's dungeon, and he shouldn't interfere. So may he kill every magic beast here? An orc guard lunges at his back mid-sentence, so Jinwoo freezes it in the air without looking. He hammers the beast into the stone over and over, then politely repeats the question. Ki-hun rasps his permission, and the guard's corpse drops. The shaman applauds the party tricks and detonates his full power, mana Jinwoo has never felt before. Jinwoo just smiles that the two of them are utterly incompatible and calls his soldiers out. Blue-flamed armor boils out of the dark. Igris, Iron, and an entire Shadow Legion. Outside, the association surveillance team rolls up, asking why an S-rank spent 2 days playing minor. The crew happily reports that Sung smiled like a murderer, and that Hunter Cha chased him into the gate. Manager Wu's sunglasses quietly crack. Then the team's gate meter spikes, and the readings say the original measurement was flat wrong. This is one of the highest level A-rank gates on record, and the strike squad inside has no idea. Wu orders everyone in immediately. Deeper in, Hain finds mountains of butchered high orcs and knows no squad did this. Whatever she's sensing ahead reads like a boss that will annihilate Ki-hun's team. The pink cap hits the dirt, and the S-rank starts running. Back in the hall, the boss sneers at Jinwoo's pitiful scarecrow soldiers, which genuinely annoys him. Monarch's domain activates, a black tide spreading across the floor that boosts every shadow standing on it by half again. The enemy shamans panic. They can barely summon 2 minions, and this human fields an army of them. The boss orders the horde to kill him, so Iron bellows an epic taunt and wades in swinging. Igris draws its greatsword and turns the front line into a blender, carving through high orcs faster than they can scream. Jinwoo dives in beside his knight with twin daggers, and a surviving hunter mutters that he moves like their guild's vice master. Even so, his rank-and-file shadows are only B-rank strong, respawning 3 or 4 times per high orc. The boss piles on with dragon fire and rolling firestorms that torch whole squads of them. Jinwoo shrugs. As long as he has mana, they regenerate. The shaman points out the obvious. Regeneration burns mana, and mana runs out. Jinwoo's counter is rude. An inventory stocked with mana potions, drinkable mid-fight. Still, this boss guard's better than Vulcan or Metis ever did, so he decides to stop playing. It's time for the necromancer to work. One word, arise, and the orc dead stand back up wearing his shadows. The boss watches his own warriors join the enemy, and in the end, Jinwoo promises, so will he. Something glitches in the shaman's mind. Could this human be the monarch? For the first time, the boss questions his own existence. Spawned with a single hardwired order to hunt humans, no reason attached. Shaken, he sends his 4 elite guards down the stairs to bring back Jinwoo's corpse. Jinwoo grins. A battle of generals, then. Igris takes the guards on, and it is not close. It parries, slams, and cracks skull-helmed elites apart one exchange at a time, twirling the greatsword through leaping ambushes. One guard takes a blade through the skull, another gets launched into the air mid-swing. The last berserker turns to find Iron looming, and a shadow bear paw flattens him with a thwack. Iron gives the bear an approving thumbs up. Jinwoo notes that his generals seem better, though privately his mana is draining faster than potions restore it. Kargalgan unloads every curse song he has. Fever, blindness, sleep, and the debuffs slide right off. Candiara's blessing has made Jinwoo immune to every debuff the shaman owns. Next, he says, that annoying guardian shield goes down. Kargalgan levitates a massive orb of solidified archdemon blood, a magic tool that doubles every spell he casts. Jinwoo shatters the priceless sphere mid-chant, cutting the curse song off at the throat. The blast burns half his face off, and purple blood sprays across the throne hall. Down on the floor, Hain has caught up and cannot process the scene. Minion-controlling mages command 1 or 2 at a time, yet armored soldiers are swarming the whole arena. The strike squad recognizes their vice guild master, and nobody can explain anything to her. Cornered, Kargalgan stacks every buff song he knows over a blazing zodiac circle. He erupts into a burning giant that dwarfs Jinwoo completely. Jinwoo orders the spectators out. Then the Colossus stomps his soldiers while his mana hits 0. Giants, he mutters, bring back genuinely bad memories. The giant bellows that he is merely playing along, demanding to know if Jinwoo still thinks him outmatched. Jinwoo's whole answer is a bored om-hom. Then he blitzes up the giant's body, because bigger just means a bigger target. No unguarded mage survives the sudden strike of an assassin. Association agents arrive mid-collapse, and Hain explains the minions are all his. A dagger can't fatally wound something this big, so Jinwoo draws a long blade of glowing blue light. One leap, one strike to the skull, and the Colossus crashes down before the stunned suits. The eye-patch-wearing surveillance manager admits nobody here needed rescuing after all. The squad whispers about a brawler who also summons, and a suit asks Hane if she knows that man. Not well, she answers, because once the mage lost his bodyguards, it was simply game over. Kargalgan dies baffled that his stronghold could fall, swarmed under a tide of stabbing shadows. The system declares the dungeon master defeated and hands Jinwoo 2 level-ups on the spot. With the leftover orcs being mopped up, he eyes the corpse and wonders about helping himself to some loot. Looting another guild's boss feels wrong, but a shadow isn't a material item. He taps the corpse and gives the order to arise. The boss's shadow fights the pole, thrashing into a whirlwind that makes veterans flinch. When the smoke settles, a hulking high orc soldier stands perfectly calm. This shadow outclasses every existing rank, so the system demands a name. Jinwoo can't remember the orc's name, so the A-rank boss is christened Fong, first of a brand new elite knight tier. He can now store 127 shadows, banks the spares, and turns to find manager Wu watching. Caught mid-heist, Jinwoo braces, but the association plays it smooth. Wu declares his case top secret, asks every witness for confidentiality, and escorts him out to avoid a scene. Before he goes, the strike squad boasts, whatever his reasons for hiding, they're alive because of him. A shy miner hands back the will he wrote, asking if he'd rather deliver it himself. Hane tries to say something and never gets it out. A guildmate asks why she's cradling a pickaxe, and she turns bright red. Whatever she wanted to tell him goes unsaid. At a cafe, Jinho psychs himself up like a man awaiting sentencing, because Jinwoo will decide his fate today. Boss arrives straight from a dungeon, and Jinho reports that the White Tiger survivor testified about the Red Gate's true savior. Jinwoo waves the testimony off and asks whether Jinho needs him named Eugen's guild master. Jinho panics that it's entirely his call, no pressure whatsoever. Jinwoo says his name, Jinho gulps, and the answer cuts away unheard. That night, Hunters Guild HQ learns their luggage carrier attended 2 of their raids, and Guild Master Choi wants answers. Captain Sun reports the boss was beyond them, and Sun only intervened when he judged it necessary. Choi asks the dangerous question, how does this man compare to me? Sun answers diplomatically about roles and teamwork, then admits Sung is above any standard. The self-styled ultimate hunter concedes he couldn't solo a high A-rank dungeon, and Sun begs him to recruit Hunter Sung. Meanwhile, a press mob swells outside the association, and top actor Min-sung Lee admires tomorrow's flattering headlines from his van. Guild masters Beck and Choi both arrive, and reporters buzz until Beck grumbles that everyone knows Lee already signed with the Reapers. The presidents trade jabs over yesterday's disasters, then admit their people would be dead without one man. When the Reapers master asks if they're fighting over Min-sung, both explode that they couldn't care less. Min-sung, watching from his car, believes Korea's best guilds are fighting over him. Jinwoo arrives at the circus in a hoodie, wondering what all these people are for. A bodyguard blocks him, so the association's president personally walks out to usher his guest inside. Min-sung grinds his teeth over the nobody sullying his stage and orders his manager to identify him. Min-sung demands an earlier slot and learns the building is closed until another hunter's reevaluation ends at 11. He name-drops his father's money and the watching reporters, threatening consequences. The suit removes his sunglasses on violet eyes and asks if Min-sung is prepared himself. Argument over. Inside, Choi and Beck have been bowing in a hallway for over an hour. In a cavernous hall, examiners ask the first S-rank candidate in 2 years to show his abilities. He raises one shadow, and since lying is pointless before witnesses, floods the hall with 100 soldiers. President Go's face goes white, and Beck privately admits this power overwhelms his own. Jinwoo walks out holding a fresh S-rank license, and both guild masters pounce instantly. He mumbles about errands and sneaks for a side door, ignoring Choi's warning about that exit. The door opens onto a solid wall of camera flashes, live on every network. In a classroom across town, Jinoa's friends shove a phone at her. Her big brother is on TV. 10 minutes earlier, Min-sung had sworn on stage to retire and serve as a hunter regardless of rank. Privately, it's a lie. He's already rated A rank, paid handsomely to promote the Reapers for 2 years. He basks in the gasps, delighted by his own nobility. Mid-speech, every phone in the plaza buzzes with an association alert. A new S-rank hunter, the 10th, named Jinwoo Sung. The reporters do the math on the closed evaluation room and bolt mid-question, leaving Min-sung alone at his own podium. He calls after reporter Lim, who promises to get back to him later. One departing journalist already has tomorrow's headline. Pathetic E-rank becomes powerful S-rank. Min-sung ends up sitting on the floor while Jinwoo stands silhouetted against the flashes. The news ripples outward. The excavation crewman who hated him checks the article hoping for a crime, and finds the 10th S-rank hunter. Old co-workers tremble, a kendo dojo buzzes, and in a chauffeured car an elderly gentleman reads the report. He is Jinho's father, and Jinho confesses failure. Jinwoo will form his own guild, and offered him vice president. Instead of anger, The old chairman smiles and asks why Jinho thinks he wants a guild at all. He has money to burn already. The real answer is simpler: to protect us. Hunter power keeps growing worldwide. Chairman Yu warns, and national-level hunters already rule small countries like kings. His goal was a guild of hunters he can trust, and Jinho found one, so he passes. He inherits Eugene Guild, tearfully thanks his father, then refuses. He's joining Jinwoo's guild. Outside the association, a press mob ambushes Jinwoo, who mostly wonders why him and not Minsung Lee. Reporters shout about the rare reawakened E-rank. White Tiger staffers gust the cameras back and offer an escort home. He politely declines. Guildmaster Beck watches with glowing beast eyes and still can't track Jinwoo's speed. His verdict: the kid is likely stronger than the S-rank guildmasters already. Then a heretical thought. Maybe this wasn't a reawakening. Maybe the man can continuously level up. The broadcast reaches a hospital room, where a bandaged patient snarls that Jinwoo is still alive. At the exchange, an appraiser goggles at the blood-red sphere, double amplification, where world-class artisans manage half. Jinwoo tables the auction talk. He needs flame-resistant gear for the demon's castle and his mother's elixir. Fire protection is the market's easiest find, since fire is the most common attack magic. The showroom glitters with armored cases, and Jinwoo tests the A-rank-proof glass with a charged fist, so the appraiser frantically waves him off. Later he finds a hairline crack in glass Jinwoo never touched. A 300 million won dagger underwhelms him, worse than his Night Killer, yet pricier. Then staff value his cheap system shop dagger at over 100 million won, and a plan forms. Auction shop items. Keep the sphere of avarice. At White Tiger, Beck concedes. At the Red Gate, Jinwoo was weaker than him. Now he's beyond them, so the man will simply found his own top guild. Manager and refuses to give up and marches his team to Jinwoo's building, where reporters already camp. Upstairs, China begs her brother not to go tell the press off. The internet already trashes him for snubbing reporters. Then fists hammer the door, and Jinwoo strides over midswear despite her protests. It's Jinho, giant backpack and tears. His father kicked him out, and even his townhouse was dad's. He asks to crash here, and Jinwoo slowly closes the door, telling China he's never seen the guy before. At the estate, the chairman insists Jinho must earn independence on his own, fist clenched over that guild choice. Then he sees two of his wife standing at the closet, and crashes to the floor as she screams. That night Jinwoo posts 2 high-orc guards on sleeping China, and realizes he never extracted the one he smashed through a ceiling. Then he musters his shadows on the rooftop as neighborhood vigilantes ordered to patrol unseen. A little help for the world. Jinho drives his boss toward Daesung Tower, reporting that motel life is honestly pretty decent. Jinwoo doesn't know what to say to someone disowned for liking him too much. Asked why the tower this early, he says he'll be right back, and vanishes from the moving van. The system welcomes him back to the demon's castle, where difficulty climbs exponentially from here. He's prepared, the heat-shielding robe of wind, and a nameless water magic ring. A new quest lands immediately: defeat Demon Monarch Baron on the highest floor, and take his soul. The reward is a rune stone hiding a 4th job-exclusive skill, joining Shadow Extraction, Shadow Storage, and Monarch's Domain. He teleports to Floor 76, a burning demon city where nobles cast from zodiac circles. Jinwoo blitzes the whole district, XP notifications stacking 2,000 at a time. Fong was nerfed as a shadow, but the sphere scales with its caster and more than compensates. The status screen now reads level 81, job, Shadow Monarch. Chairman Yu wakes in an emergency center 2 days later to strange questions. Does he spend time around hunters, and has he heard of eternal sleep disease? The sleep no one wakes from, bodies deteriorating on magic life support, first diagnosed after the gates appeared. Low mana tolerance plus prolonged exposure triggers it, the same illness that took Jinwoo's mother. Asked whether a hunter lives in his family, the chairman pictures Jinho. His conclusion is cold. The magic intolerant are being expelled from this world, and Myung-han you won't lose to that. Meanwhile in Japan, clawed feet hit the sand of Sagano Island. An ant has made it across from Jeju alive. Nearby, 2 island hunters stroll their rounds, sighing that nothing beats the quiet. The island's whole defense is a D-rank veteran and an E-rank rookie, because mainland backup takes 3 days by boat. Mid-lecture, the rookie interrupts. Is that a person? A blood-red soldier ant stands in the road and asks who they are, slaughtered monsters smoking behind it. Back in the castle, Jinwoo reorganizes an army his stats have outgrown. He splits the soldiers into 6 teams under Fong, Igris, Iron, and Tank, with 2 orders: kill everything, and report the next floor's permit immediately. Moments after dispatch, XP floods in at 0 mana cost. Jinwoo chugs mana potions while his soldiers grind demons at the level cap. The group hunts pay off exponentially. Tank alone jumps 10 levels in days, and floor 80 arrives ahead of schedule. Then a jolt. Mana draining fast. Someone keeps killing his shadow soldiers. Soldiers are being destroyed faster than they can regenerate. So Jinwoo recalls the shadows and weathers a day of constant ambushes. Scratching a map in the dirt, he finds the pattern. The enemy bypassed the stronger Team Fang to hit weaker squads instead. So these demons only pick fights they can win, intelligent enough to read an opponent's weaknesses. That makes their next target obvious, and the shadows rally as Jinwoo mutters that they're coming. Out of the embers ride 4 armored figures on demonic mounts, a demon noble and 3 demon knights. A knight leaps in and cuts Tank down mid-roar, and the shadow beasts shatter like glass. So that's why they couldn't regenerate fast enough. The beasts are simply no match for these demons. Jinwoo intercepts, slamming the first knight flat, and its dragon mount flinches at his blazing eyes. 2 strokes drop 2 more knights, and the last falls before the shaking noble, as Jinwoo muses whether monsters ever feel fear. Eyes blazing in the embers, he grins. Now he knows for sure. The weakest hunter of all mankind is gone. In his place stands something even monsters fear, and his leveling has only begun.